We are live. Let me make sure it's doing the thing. Well, that's unfortunate, but there's always next week. All right. Hello and welcome to the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. My name is Bill Kelly, Hornswoggle the Great, and one of my many co-hosts tonight is
Rob the Blacksmith.
give us tonight.
That's it, just Rob the Blacksmith.
Give us tonight's cigar before the other boys get here.
Let me. This one is the Gurkha 21 year. So it's an anniversary cigar, and it has some of the oldest aged leaves that they roll. And this one is a nice medium body, simple. It's got a light wrapper to it. Yep, you'll be able to see.
It's a light wrapper, more like LL Cool J and a less like NWA. Or Ice Cube when he was new. That's a neat one. I will be smoking a Mojave Select and a pre-ground. I buy the pre-ground eighth, and then I buy it's 3.5 grams, which would be basically like an eighth and a little bit more. An eighth and an extra pinch for the dealer you've been going to forever, or if he's your buddy. And I mix it with the pre-ground flour because if you use, jars is amazing. We've already said that before, but I don't like, there aren't any dispensaries that I don't like, man. I go to them all. And if I had more money, I'd go to them all. But I got to get some work done too. So it's what I like to do is, like I've said before, I just loaded 2 bowls for the first part of the show, is I like to grind it all up in the buds and then add the shake and mix it together because the vape cartridges are great. I own many of them. The Stizzies are wonderful. The vape cartridges are wonderful. But this takes the edge off and it fucks you up, but it's not the same. I don't know how to explain it.
Not the gentle mellow.
It is the vape pens. If you've been smoking flower, weed for a long time, the vape pens are like, oh, hey, this is cool. And then in about 20 minutes, you're like, where, the bowls, after I finish, this is 3 hours. I feel pretty damn good, and the muscles don't hurt for 3 hours. Whereas edibles are a different ride. And I got too excited about edibles, and I had to stop. I was buying the 1,000 milligram bag of OG's blackberries and cream, which are amazing. But I'm taking 200 milligrams every couple hours instead of ibuprofen, which that part's good, but those bags are like $60, $65, even with my medical card. So, whoa. So that, if I'm not growing any marijuana now because I've got so many car parts in my backyard, but that's temporary, and that's not going to happen very often. And then I'm going to get right back to growing after I'm probably, if I keep the pace that I'm at now, I should have all the parts done February. I'm being very, very optimistic. I'm going out to the ranch early tomorrow, but I think I'm just going to work on my big panel truck because we're going to take the other Suburban, the 86 Chevy Suburban that Pete has, and we're going to strip that one down. But now I know what I'm doing, and like Pete said, it's not going to take you nearly as long to get the body off that frame and chassis because these bolts aren't rusted on there with years of Illinois, So, not that Illinois is bad. It's just a salty.
Illinois is destructive to metal.
You said it first.
All of the Midwest and the East Coast is destructive to metal,
Yes.
unfortunately. That's why those folks tend to love to come out to Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and Utah and Colorado to some extent, California, and into the desert area and the Inland Empire in California, because we have junk cars that are not rust bucket.
Right.
What we look at and say, gee, that's a rusty car. They look at it and go, I could scrub that off with a Scotch-Brite. I'm back in business.
No, Pete and Judy had some guy come down from either Calgary or Alberta, and he was just overjoyed because, in Canada they're all rusted at it. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, that's snow. It's the Great White North, eh? We're just the lower 48, which I still find hilarious.
The thing that I get a kick out of is some of the best body men I have ever met are from England.
Really?
Because you'll bring them a 5 foot by 3 foot section of metal that is rusted everywhere and corroded and is as thin as Kleenex, and they'll go, hey, I can fix that.
All right,
because they're used to it. I can buff that out.
put a nice clean on this and fill this in, and we'll take this and we'll stretch it out and it'll be just right.
Because they look at that, they're used to that. Pulling a vehicle off the road in England is because it has literally rusted itself into separate parts. Cannot be stitched together again.
Pete, wrong P, was contacted by Klaus, who's awesome, who's in New Zealand. And they came all the way from New Zealand to get this truck, and they got some parts from Pete. And the best laid plans of mice and men often go sideways, often go wrong, is the correct. Pete ended up, he doesn't even know these people. They're from the other side of the planet. But he allowed them to stay in their guest room out there because this was, where else are they going to stay? It's Whitman. There's no fucking hotels around. The closest one's like Sun City, I think. Maybe Surprise. I think there's
You have a choice. You can go to Wickenburg or you can come into town. One or the other. There's nothing in the area.
So I got to meet Klaus and his wife, Brenda Dragon. And it's awesome that across the planet, on the other side of the world, people have an affinity, a geekdom, if you will, for old cars. I mean, that's something I think that on a visceral's the wrong word, on a instinctual, that's better. On an instinctual level, people are into really old cars. And it connects people. Because the old ones will sit around and talk about, hey, you've got this. Well, I had... I'm not working.
It's tribal link.
Huh?
It's the tribal link.
It is.
The tribal knowledge. And the tribal link. There's always, as we've spoken about, you have this, no matter what you want to name the psychological profile as, you will always have at least 3 different types that will show up in a gathering. Yeah. So there'll be the one that wants to listen and absorb it. It's looking for new information and may give a little bit of input, but they're really listening and absorbing, pulling in and paying attention. And they seem to be more the introverted. And then you'll have the much more extroverted that sometimes tends to move towards the narcissistic tendencies. But those are the toppers that always have that better story, that next big thing, something like that. And then there's the sharer. You always have the sharer, who is the one that wants to tell you about it, but they want to tell you about it in an interactive fashion. They want to speak to you. They want to speak with you about it. They welcome the input from the narcissist to a point, and then they redirect the story, keep moving down the line. And they love the listener because the listener is always enthralled and may throw in, a good listener will throw in, really? And that's where those two really get together.
Yeah.
The narcissist tends to be the one, or depending on how far they are on the scale, the narcissist tends to be the one that will jump in as often as they can to top something, but they can be shut down pretty quickly by a good storyteller.
I sometimes often want. I mean, I'm not a narcissist because you have to love yourself and be like sexually attracted to yourself to be one of those. I, I'm more of an egomaniac. I'm not nice to look at, but I am fun to talk to. That's on a lot of my profiles. But I'm no longer working at the Point Tapatio Cliffs. There, I said it. The reasons are murky, and we're not going to discuss it. We still probably are going to do a ghost hunt there this Halloween. That is not over. I'm not banned from the place. It's fine. In fact, I went there today and picked up a bunch of aluminum cans from the golf guys. And I'm blabbermouth was always the euphemism. My mother preferred the term bucket mouth. But I talk too much. I talk all the time. I'm long-winded. I need to share information. The sharing
You
is
are a storyteller. You are the bard. You are
I kind of am. Yeah.
you are the bard. If again we go back to that traditional, I'm going to go back to the historical. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, I'm the one that takes everything to the psychological, to the ethereal, and to the historic. So I spent an awful lot of money for this education. By God, I'm going to use it somewhere. You get to be the one to deal with it.
He's the
So,
scholar. I'm the chaos. Guy is the planner. I have an idea. I have a plan.
but in every tribe, there was always the storyteller, the history bringer, the one who could spin the tales and who kept the history alive and carried it down to the next generation. And that is and has been your role for as long as I've known you. Back when, early days of doing the Ren Fair and all the rest of that stuff.
Oh, we started
We
gaming.
would
Yeah.
lightly cross paths and things like that, but that was your role. That was what you did so well, and you still do it very well. I mean,
Thank you.
you have that skill set. You're able to spin the tale, but not so much. Um, you're not a dry storyteller. You add the, you add all the nuance. You add all of the hook to the story without making the story about yourself. Even when you're talking about yourself, or you're talking about an event you were a party to, you add the hook. You bring in everything. That's the part of it. Now, the narcissist will never give you the whole tale because the narcissist has to be the hero. Whatever the case may be, is always the lead, always the winner, always the one
That is
who is of
true.
most
Yeah.
important. So
Thank you.
I'm the narrator.
Kind of. Yeah. Well, I mean, and even like Ron is hard to fit in a. Oh, by the way, Guy and Ron will hopefully be joining us soon. They had personal stuff going on because as much as we plan this for every Monday, life interrupts, and now I'm back on the job hunt, and I've decided I did an evaluation. Here's where we stand, okay? And I know that you're going to want several of them. I have a 27-gallon tub of guns, Nerf guns that are made into steampunk guns. These are Paul. I didn't do these. I may have sanded them all. I may have flat blacked them. But even though Paul taught me the bones. Paul taught me the boron, the boudron. I can grab it out of the closet if you want. I have bones right here. And even though he's the one that taught me, I progressed beyond him, and we have two vastly different styles. Paul taught me the patina dry brush technique. And even he admitted, oh, you're gotten better than me at that. It's like, dude, it's not a contest. It's just I'm left-handed, and I'm trying to recreate something that a right-hander showed me how to do. But Paul's style of steampunking and my style of steampunking are vastly different. And I kind of really want to make sure my kids and Christine get whatever they want, and the rest of all these guns I want to give to Rose and Theo and split them up, and so Mariana and Theo and all the cousins, because there's only so much of his artwork. And even though we don't have a lot of it, Paul was up there with Dwayne and, maybe not Keith, but all of the other artists that we know, that he may not have been able to draw things, but what he created in steampunk, what he created in other artistic endeavors that he did, he was the right hand in Worldwide Villains in Major Crush Hazard. Kurt came up with the character. Kurt and Buttons came up with the character. He came to me. I had never really written a script before. I was writing fantasy stories because I wanted to be the next R.A. Salvatore. So that didn't pan out, even though people were like, your two ideas are really cool. The rest one is, it's all right. So I really like the idea of Sin City. So what if you had Sin City, but you kind of did it in a more dark comedy kind of way? More The Tick. What if Sin City and The Tick met? So I started making all these characters, and that's where Sad Terry came from. But the 5-foot assassin was actually a character based on a joke that happened around the campfire, where I met Jeff Mosden when I was 17. And besides Pete Madsen, Jeff Mosden was the greatest martial artist I ever met in my life. And Jeff was 5'10", but I outweighed him by a lot, and he could just toss me around in the dojo like I weighed nothing. I never met somebody faster or more. Every Capricorn has an art, and martial arts was Jeff's art. So Jeff, and I ended up introducing him to Ren Fair. He worked at the Pirates Plunder from about 95 till just before he passed away. He and Frenchie and Tatton were super tight. Paul and Tatton and Frenchie were super tight. Frenchie just commented on I really hope they watch the show. They're still playing D&D, like the same group from the 70s down there in Tucson. So Jeff and Donnie, we always joked that Donnie is like a Shaft, like dressed like Shaft, and he's a gun for hire, and he's the 5-foot assassin. And Jeff is dressed like Bruce Lee, and he's Ruggles, his sidekick. And Jeff is actually the real brains, like Arthur, like the Tick, because Arthur is the genius. The Tick is a moron. The Tick is indestructible and incredibly strong, and he has this amazingly vast and deep vocabulary, but he's an idiot. And that's the beauty of it. So I wanted to recreate that in a dark, more like Hitman, kind of like the Punisher, And so we used to make jokes about that. And that's where that came from. And then years after that, when after we were living here, and Cookie and Gabe, Gabe, if you're watching, thank you again. Gabe is an amazing artist, wonderful computer guy, and he was one of our first artists, but he kind of saw all the problems that were going on between Guy and Paul and Kurt and Christine, and he was out of there quick. So should have taken note of that. Hindsight's 2020. So the hero in the Major Crush Hazard is a villain, and he's seriously based on Kurt. And Kurt and Buttons were delivery drivers, and they had, like, I think it was a Suzuki, like one of the middle-sized trucks. Or maybe it was, I don't remember what the truck was, because Kurt's got a CDL. He can drive whatever the fuck he wants. So they were making a delivery, and there was a diamond sign on the dock. Caution, reversing, Major Crush Hazard. So they started joking that Major Crush Hazard would be a great villain name. Like Sergeant Hatred or all the other, there's always a goofy military villain in a lot of or hero in a lot of the comic books of the past. Sergeant Rock and, Sergeant Fury. It's like that. That's
Corporal Cumshot.
Yeah. Captain America. He's only a captain. Why don't we have like Colonel America? Why can't we have a higher rank? I mean, don't get me wrong.
Right.
You have to work your ass off to get to a captain, but that's not that high. Majors are higher than captains, kids. It's that much. There's lieutenants. So that's where the problem is, that he was just Kurt in leather, bald, tattoo covered, ex-Marine, 6'9". And then I can't remember if he had the idea or I had the idea. It's, what if we had a villain that could talk to metal so you could never sneak up on him? Metal was always telling him that it was right behind him. And then Kurt, who's a gearhead, turned that into, what if his car was Robin? And it can't do anything or move on its own, but it's another set of eyes and ears. Even though it's just a car, it's still an inanimate object. And that's where the whole, I've got to give you one of the comics. I gave like almost all back to Kurt. We printed 1,000 and I sold 270 in the first 2 years. And I would go to independent comic people, and I said, "We just printed our first comic, but I have no point of reference, and I know that you guys can tell me if this is good or bad, and this is totally humble and like, where am I?" Okay, we published 1,000, and I sold 270, and all the guys, and I hope we can have them all on the show, and Chris has kept in contact with them, like Eric Mengel, who does Ocho, and Denny, who does Ghost Girl and Get That Chicken, and dude, I met so many that's why it's like, support your independent comic, buy on the independent rack. They're trying, they really want to do it. Some of the stories are okay, some of them are really good. But everybody who's anybody started out at the bottom. And they were like, how did you manage to sell 270? Well, I never gave up. And I went to comic book stores every weekend. And, All About Books and Comics only had like 2 locations. But Atomic Comics in 2010 and 2011 and 2012 was huge. They had 4 locations. They were doing Constant, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pogs and Slammers. I don't know. So it wasn't Pogs and Slammers. So you don't know how good you're doing until somebody tells you. It's in the song by the White Stripes. You're in your little studio, you're working on something good, and you don't. The worst thing that can happen is the outside world to an artist. because it alters their ego and it defines the box of their creativity, because if they listen too much to the public thing, they get swayed by that. If they listen to the new, the best thing you can do is like how I describe Capricorns in the book. One day I'll finish, where I wanted to do an earth signs for morons for natal astrology, because I studied a lot of astrology long before the internet. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm giving all my books away. What's the point in having them? It's all on the internet. I don't have any interesting secret insight anymore because, I just looked that up. Or back in the day, you need the day you were born, the time you were born, down to the minute, because less than every 4 minutes, everything moves. It's a clock. So the day, the time, and the place. And then you would have to have an Epheramus, which is this double dictionary-sized book, and it's the degrees and the seconds of all of the planets in our solar system and beyond our solar system, and the middle-aged planets, and the nodes, So, I took... In 1992... Was 92. Holy crap, that's been a long time now. So there was Louis Anthony Russo was the Lord Mayor, and Louis Anthony Russo was huge. Well, we know that. But he was also huge in the psychic. Sorry, I couldn't. Louis would have laughed at that. He always made fun of his weight. He was a big guy. He looked like Paul Smith, and Paul Smith is a famous actor in the 80s who played Bluto in the Popeye movie with Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall and Roy Walston. In Crime Wave, he played opposite Byron James, who I met in real life. The dude was fucking awesome. I was an extra in a movie called Showdown, and he played the principal. I was the only one that knew who the hell he was. How long do I have to live? 4 days. Longer than you. Or from Enemy Mine, throw the little walkie in the soup. I always wanted to be an actor, so it's nothing for me to memorize whole movies and monologues and comedy routines. So I got to go all the way back to where I was, and now I forgot, because now I'm further down. Somehow this is connected to comic book stuff. You don't know how good you're... Oh, Lewis. So, yeah, that's astrology. It's not really important. But we were kind of... I didn't have anything. One night, we were all gaming with Gabe and Cookie and Christine, and I don't know, I think we were playing Shadowrun or D&D, and I was kind of like, we were married way back then, and I was fucking with her on gaming night, and the kids were in bed, and we were burned out on pizza and wings on gaming night, so we decided, hey, let's get cold cuts. Let's get a bunch of turkey, ham, chicken, pastrami, salami. It'll be good. And it was. And bread and all that fun. So I'm fucking with Christine, and she's getting really annoyed and giving it back to me. It's not like she was just sitting there taking it. That's why I married her. She's a Jersey girl. You don't fuck with her. So she gets really mad, and she was making a sandwich, and she grabbed a slice of American cheese and winged it at me. And it literally went through the kitchen about 4 feet and made a smack noise and hit me right on the cheek and stuck to my cheek for like half a second and fell to the ground, which was answered by the three of us as, whoa! And from that night on, she became Lady Deathcraft, assassin with dairy products. So we kind of changed this character into the Batman of the problem with the Major Crush Hazard, it's Phoenix, but we couldn't call it Phoenix, so it's Oasis City. And Crush lives at and works up in Starlight. Have you ever been to Starlight? Starlight on the rim. Sholo, yeah. Starlight. Okay.
Yeah.
On the main road, there is an old meat packing plant that has become a strip club. And there's a cow. And then some guy came with a crossbow bolt and shot one at the cow. So Kurt kept passing this, and he's like, I have to show you this picture because every time I pass this building, it makes me laugh. This is so fucking hillbilly. It's a slaughterhouse that's got turned into a strip club. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the secret lair of Crush Hazard, dude. Because Kurt wanted him to live in a junkyard, and it's like, well, they're just going to find him if he's a villain living in a junkyard. There's nowhere for him to go. So it's a strip club inside a junkyard, and instead of a cow, we changed it with a pig, kept the crossbow bolt, called it the Pork Factory, and it's a strip club for plus-size women. And he's the maintenance guy for the reinforcing the stage. And so here's the irony of this. I absolutely love this because this is our society. This is what you're told, and this is what actually happens. So I'm like, this is going to get us attacked by women everywhere we go when we describe what he does for a living and where he lives. So we're just going to have to deal with, coming up with stuff to argue and this and that. And we do comic book stores. Worldwide Villains started the Phoenix Comic Con, but it wasn't called that back then. It was called the Cactus Phoenix Con, and it used to be in Mesa. So it was Mesa, and then it moved to Phoenix. Because it was the Cactus. It wasn't Phoenix in the beginning. So we come up with the idea in 2008. Dana starts drawing the characters. Matt starts drawing all the backgrounds. I figured streamline it. It'll happen faster. So, and it worked. Until Dana got burned out. And anyway, it was a crash and burn. Excuse me. So, I went to all these places. I went to all these comic book stores. Everywhere. Stalking Moon, you name it. I was there. And I can't tell you how many plus-size women I stood in front of and explained to them that Major Crush Hazard works in a comic book store or a strip club for plus-size women, and it's called the Pork Factory, and it was a slaughterhouse, and all of the girls have pig-themed costumes. They have little Miss Piggy noses and ears, and all of their shoes have cloven hooves on them. These women couldn't buy these comics fast enough because fat girls were shown as sex symbols in tiny lingerie. And Dana just laughed her ass off drawing all of them. She thought it was hilarious. So I'm like, where is the slap? How come I'm not getting throat punched over this? How dare I objectify a classification of human being that society pretends doesn't exist?
Yep, because you were equalizing the ground. You were giving them something that they knew should be the case.
Yep.
Never was.
Do you want to hear?
You were making it much better.
I wish Ron and Guy were here, but do you want to hear the real truth of the matter of what actually happened?
Sure.
And I don't mean to be rude, but here's the reality. Fat girls bought 2 copies each, and the only time we ever got nasty backlash were twice. Once at a Comic-Con, once at a comic book store. And you know who they were?
The skinny little girls?
Oh, you know it. 5-foot little nothing tomboy, this big around, 80 pounds. Don't you think that's wrong to objectify? Actually, you're the first one that's spoken up against this. And the best part was that this one bitch was just going off on me at a comic book store, and Kurt thought it was hilarious. I don't know. I don't think we were at Spaz Dog. I think we might have been at the one that Avery and what's her name owned Comic Zone, and she was just totally offended that we had fat girls in, and not to be rude, plus size women, chubby honeys. That we had women that were overweight in lingerie, and they were up on a strip. They were on a dance floor, and the story started with one of them had broke the stage, and Kurt or Crush was having to fix it. So it was kind of setting up where Sad Terry was kind of like a manic depressive Joker, where he was only funny and wild and crazy for a short amount of time, and most of the time he was just this mopey, brooding character. But he wasn't really a main character in the beginning. Kurt kind of pulled him forward. Oh, reverse Joker. Dude, nobody wants to see that. That's just like being a normal guy.
Eeyore with firearm.
In a green suit, and he's fat, and he's got the traditional, not, what happens to people with their hair, but he was, it was, the problem was that was his story, and the rest of these ancillary characters were kind of mine. But I gave them to him because I'm not going to do anything with the 5-foot assassin or Lady Deathcraft or Sad Terry. That project is shelved forever. I'm not going to, take them, go, do it. And then it became, help me write this, help me write that, help me write that. Dude, I'm trying to do my own shit. So, you know what we know what I didn't do, and now we're like, we didn't do the.
You're going to give what the days are?
Yeah, I didn't do that, and now my ADD took over, and we're like 40 minutes in.
Like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the mind of Bill.
I'm incapable of a 5-minute conversation. Pretty much, unless I'm at work. And even then.
Right. To those who do not know, there used to be a program called The Twilight.
We're the comedy.
This was where you got the opportunity to look into the mind of the writers and the conceptual artists at the time. We now consider tonight's episode to be The Twilight Zone, looking inside the mind of...
Picture, if you will, the man whose mind never turns off. He can barely sleep, because even though his wife told him, well, when they were married, that he'd been snoring for 20 minutes, he said, no, here's the story I was working on in my head. And she said, no, you were snoring all this time. Oh, no.
I was still writing a story.
Yeah, that was just the outside. That's called meditating, but unfortunately it sounds like... And
that's called...
I'm sorry about that. I don't even know I'm doing it. And when I do realize it, it's like, what the... Oh, it stopped. Okay. Must not be
That's called subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. When the three should ever meet,
yeah, you can accomplish anything.
Real world of hurt.
Or as Freud almost had it, the id, the ego, and the superego. However, today is August 4th. It is National White Wine Day. There's too many fucking rules for wine. I don't drink it. You're more sophisticated than me. What do you know about?
I know about wine. In all honesty, I used to I used to read up on wine because I wanted to know about it. I found one wine that I actually liked, and that I didn't find until I had turned 50. And it was one that my mother enjoyed because she would buy it at Trader Joe's, and it was their brand of a sparkling white wine. And you can still get it. It's a proper blend. But that's the only one that I really had much of a palate. But wines themselves, for me, I've always had them cooking. because I like to do different things. So I would use white wines, Chardonnays with light foods. I might use them to make a sauce for a pork or a fish or even a chicken. Use a nice red wine when doing steaks or doing a heavier beef type, so that you can get something that lives through the fat, the strength of the meal. Chianti I always kept in the house because I used that when making my sauces for my pastas. So I would always, for red sauce, I usually had either a nice strong red wine or a Chianti I would use for that. Yeah, I am not the wine aficionado.
Here's the problem with hearing the word wine. There was a song in 1965 by the Fireballs, which is not QX80. But that just hearing the word immediately sets this song off in my head.
My ex loved the "Spill the Wine, Take the Pearl." And that was a late '60s song, late '60s.
War, Eric.
Yeah. So she really enjoyed that. And
once I had a dream, I was a long-haired weeping gnome. Oh, National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, National Single Working Mother's Day, National Coast Guard Day, and the one I really want to talk about, International Owl Awareness Day. Because owls are awesome. Owls. And it's always interesting. I took an anthropology class and how cultures can totally collide. Because in white man culture and most of European culture, the owl is seen as this wisdom. He has hidden knowledge. He flies at night, and therefore he's kind of this protector, and he's kind of this lookout kind of thing. In Native American culture, it's completely the fucking opposite. He is the harbinger and messenger of death! That means somebody's going to die. When you see an owl during the day, that's not normal. The owl is something to be not afraid of, but very worried about. Who is next, is the way that they look at it. So that it's always, not only that, owls are just awesome. How much they've evolved, the way they can't really move their eyes, they have to move their head, how they're, like especially the barn owls, their heads are, or their eye sockets and their whole head is designed pretty much like a satellite dish, or vice versa is actually true, where it's this like almost a perfect nature receptor for sound. So they can hear them scurrying across.
They're a pure hunter. And all of their eyes are set in pure binocular focus. But their hearing capacity is highly elevated, but not all owls have the ear arching. But they do have very, very adept hearing. And because they have such large eyes themselves, and they have the capacity for their irises to open as wide as they do, they have exceptional night vision. They are the elves of the bird world, because they can see in the dark and they will find you. We used to have owls up at the range.
Yeah. Owls are very decent mimics. They're about the level of a cockatoo. I don't know if that's scientifically. My neighbors and I were talking about it, and there is an owl in our neighborhood that mimics cats meowing, like an angry meow. And we've like seen it heard it up in the tree, and like put the light in there, like, holy shit, that's an owl. It's another reason why they might have been inside. It's been very humid today, so they've pretty much been inside all day. At about noon, they were like, fuck this, we're coming inside.
The owl is just letting the other cats in the neighborhood know, at night, if it's out here, it's mine. You guys can have the birds during the day. I'll sleep in.
Yeah.
He's just letting them know. This is my area.
Well,
Don't screw around, and we'll get along just fine.
raptors are, that's velociraptors became kinds of raptors, hawks and ospreys and falcons and owls and eagles and all of these
Yep.
things are flying death if you're under a certain weight. They don't care what species you are. They don't care
Oh, yeah.
mouse, vole, poodle. They don't.
We had
Terrier.
at the ranch, we had a nesting pair of eagles
Ooh,
that had made a nest in the tallest of our sycamore trees in the front yard of the house at the ranch.
right on.
Big, beautiful sycamore tree, and had to have been about 30 feet up, maybe a little more. There was a nest, and Grandpa pulls me outside. He says, "Come here, don't say anything." Me. He brings me outside. He pulls out his camera, and he points and he says, "Up the tree, left hand side, 3/4 of the way up. There's a nest. I want you to tell me what you see in the net." So I go
Death.
look, and I'm like, "God damn, that's a big ass hawk." He says, "Look again." I go, "Oh shit, you're right. That's not a hawk." And we had owls
It's too big to
in
be a
that
space
lived in the
station.
area. So we're sitting there, we're kind of looking at each other, and that was one of the things he said. He said, "You know what?" I said, "We're not at the time. We're not telling anybody that the eagles are here because then we'll have the feds and we have all kinds of bullshit."
Yeah.
But we
The
ended up enjoying
80s.
it. They stayed for 2 seasons, which was nice.
Really?
But the eagles, or the owls, were in the area and they shared the area, but they were quite. Grandpa always said, we won't see as much owl activity, and we certainly won't have the bats around much
Yeah.
for a little while.
Bats are essential. They're not just awesome in Batman and all that, but they eat a shit ton of mosquitoes and moths and the lower bugs that we can't fucking stand. Bats eat a lot of those, much like toads and some of the other ones. All part of our fun ecosystem here. Visit Planet Earth now. Aliens that are on the way. Like and subscribe. We need your subscriptions. Thank you. We only have 15.
Yep.
We're working on it.
Keep subscribing, folks.
Yeah.
We keep going off on tangents for your pleasure and enjoyment.
100% pure barf.
Remember,
I've said it before.
like I tell people all the time, I have a face for radio and a voice for print. So when you're watching, close your eyes, plug your ears, have a good time. Read the transcript, enjoy.
They were making fun of me on the fight I broke up, and the one guy was mad at me, and he kept giving me crap about my weight. Hey, I spent a lot of money on this, I'll have you know.
I earned every last pound.
This wasn't cheap. You know how hard I had to work to get this big and lazy?
You know how long it takes to develop a physique like this? You guys, you go to the gym, for Christ's sake. You got to put in effort to do that.
Yeah. You got to lift that fork. I refuse to, I refuse to settle
it's
down.
It's proper 12-ounce curls.
Let's go. Oh, I'm exhausted. Hold on.
I used to love that when I get the guys. See, now I get to have fun with some of the bodybuilding type, because they'll come up. "Do you lift?" "Yeah." "Well, what kind of lifting do you do?" "Well, usually I do either 2 or 8 pound curls." 2 or 8 pound curls? Yeah. "Oh, I do 50, 65 pounds. I said, "Really? But how many reps do you do?" "What? How many reps do you do?" "Come by the shop. I'll give you a hammer. If you can knock out 50 reps in less than a minute with that 1 pounder doing a full strike on that hot steel, I'll call you cool."
Yeah. How many reps do you do? Well, it's more hours than it is reps.
Right. Come on down. Let me show you how it works.
Let me show you, Junior.
You hold this with this hand. You hold this with this hand, and you hit that as hard as you can.
See, you're young, dumb, and full of cum, and pretty much you're
That's
just
what I like.
later going to be old and sore. Still full of cum, but there's no women, so you just You're gonna have to take it
Exactly.
on your own. But
So that's what I like about being an old blacksmith
mm,
and being a cigar smoker, because the fun comes when you bring in with the smoking. The fun always comes when you bring the guys that have been smoking cigarettes for 100 years. And they want to try a cigar, and you're like, okay, let me tell you how to do that, son. I've been smoking cigarettes for 50 years. Yeah, but this isn't a cigarette. I'll be all right.
yeah,
Okay.
for the first 5 pulls, and then on the 6th, you're gonna forget what you're holding, and you're gonna inhale. Happens all the time. Right?
That's right. Let me watch you turn green. I'm going to have a good time with this.
Don't worry, I got a bucket you can throw up next to my cactus. But owls are really just. I like the way. I haven't read the books. I know nothing of the books, but only seeing the Secret of Nim movie and having John Carradine be the voice. First of all, he's just got the creepiest fucking voice. Could you imagine being his kid? Robert! Oh my god. Satan's calling us. We better go.
I must leave.
Yes.
I must bid you good evening.
He's going to split the earth apart if we don't hurry. So, yeah, that too. Did I tell you I got the list? The list of rooms that are haunted. You're not supposed to look at that. The list of rooms that people have died in at a certain resort that I am no longer employed at. There. Didn't use the name. Will that work?
It would be cool if we could get somebody like that one lady that you and I talked about, the Nadine Ignomos, I think it is. She does all the ghost tours downtown.
Hmm.
She does the walking ghost tours downtown. And then there's the Arizona Paranormal group that's on Facebook that does all of the they do professional hunts, but you can pay the $40 or you can do overnights. They have different places that they've got permission to go and do these things. It would be cool if we could get permission to have somebody like that go down there along with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you bring this group, and these are people. This is what they do. This is how they do it. If Hannah, wanted to pull that together, she's done the professional side of it. That would be really cool. Be able to do it and enjoy it, and pull back information. That's like what we had spoken about before. I would love to see. I still need to talk to the personal representative for the Scottish Rite, because I'd love for us to be able to go down to the Scottish Rite Temple down in Tucson, be able to go around in there,
set up a bunch of cameras to record all night long.
Just be able to go around in there at night, one evening, go down there on if they were willing to let us do it. That would be a really neat place. And it may not find anything, but that building has been in that spot, in that space, for well over 100 years. It has had so many important people through that building. I mean, John Wayne was a master mason who was made a master mason in Tucson.
Really?
Marion McDaniel's lodge. It was his mother lodge. And to the best of my knowledge, she's been through that building more than once. One of the best known, one of the better known Scottish Rite Masonic scholars. Well, that was his mother building there. He had passed away while he was building his namesake library in the old church that is butted up against the Scottish Rite Temple down in Tucson. I mean, if there was ever going to be a place that might be imbued with some very strong energy from some people who had a very strong tie to a place, be one hell of a good place to find.
I think so. Hopefully Ron will join us soon. Hopefully Guy will join us soon.
I would love to be able to go down there, because the Scottish Rite Temple in Washington every year, and I've shared that, they do a ghost hunt every Halloween. Oh yeah, and they've got they have a recording an EMF of what they think is Burl Ives, which is really cool. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I watched the live incident, and then they come back and say, "Wait, did you hear something?" And the day after, they reviewed everything, and so we think this is possibly Brother Burl Ives. So,
Anything's possible on this planet. Thanks to
there's lots of
CERN, we're
interesting
in.
history.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's lots of interesting history.
There is. Thanks to CERN, we're in multiverse M. Oh well, it's fine. We'll fix it. We always do.
Hey, as long as Galactus doesn't make it here before dinner,
Galactus. If Galactus showed up, I think we'd be fucked.
Galactus showed up, I'd feed him the fenner. Actually, what I'd do is I would take I'd take those chewy hammers that I bought for the dogs and just throw them to him. If he's willing to grab it, then that's easy. Gretchen, he's got your toy.
You will die, giant alien.
What happened? Well, he's currently running out of the out of our area because he's trying to figure out how to get that damn dog off it. Oh.
She tried to take her toy. What do you want me to do?
Right.
But no, going back to the comic book thing, if you have an idea and you enjoy doing it, and here's the number one thing. If you enjoy creating it, do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to. One of the platforms for worldwide villains, besides making the villain as the main character, was another one of my ideas is everything's been done, pretty much. But we have the original arrangement of existing ideas to go off on. You can, like, Invincible's a perfect example. He's not really new, but he is. Because he's an amalgam of all these other things. The same thing with Heroes. The same thing with... And Heroes is not super new. It's actually... Didn't it come out in the late 90s? Anyway.
Yeah, there was a sequence that... Yeah.
Yeah. My point in that is that you don't have to have this earth-shattering, mind-bending new idea. You can take 7 or 8 existing ideas and arrange them in a new format and build on that. The Spirit, the Spider, Batman. Yeah.
The guy, the superhero who has no superpowers other than the fact that he's just a normal guy. But he just happens to be able to, he can walk through life, get it done. And the nice thing about today is you have so many venues, you have so many avenues, something that you and I have talked about for your own case. You have the ability, somebody has the ability today, if you can come up with the story, the tale, you can tell the tale, even if you can't write the tale, you can tell the tale, record the tale, and then put it out there for people to listen to and enjoy. Good evening.
Well, you immediately came on and then froze. Oh, Ron!
No, come back!
Where is he? Oh, it's working!
There he is.
It's working! I gotta get it. Are you okay? Can you hear us?
That's right. What is a Zoom meeting? Zoom meeting is the seance of the 19th century. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Do you hear us, spirit? Oh, knock if you can hear us.
But like I was saying, I mean, the nice thing about it is that there are so many venues and avenues that were not available before. It was much more difficult in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s to provide your spoken word opponent to a mass audience. It was easier, not by much, to be able to provide your story in that comic book format through the retails that were available, but you had a much at that time you had a much larger barrier to entrance because you had to have artists, writers, printers. You had to be able to then take the product to somebody and get them to put it out there, and then you could meet your audience. Where today, someone can put things up Twitch and Discord and YouTube and Facebook and all the other avenues that you can put your information out there,
Yeah.
put the idea out there. So there are a lot of great tales, a lot of great storytellers who are coming about. And I liken it in my twisted brain that it's similar to what would have been the case in the 9th century, the 10th century, when you had storytellers who then, to be able to get themselves out there, to get their tales told, to be able to make a living, they went from place to place.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for someone to go from place to place without necessarily having to pull up stakes and run. I don't have to travel. I can now tell the tale. I can record it, present it. If I'm willing to, I can even spend the time and the much less cost having AI create certain aspects for me for visual, put it in. So you can do that. You can also do the opposite. If you're a great artist, create these storyboards, you create these images, beautiful work, but perhaps you're not quite the storyteller, but you've got the outline. You can ask AI to help build that story.
Yeah.
And AI can then tell the story in the style of James Earl Jones. Oh, here we go.
It's never been easy to tell a more amazing story now and to get it in front of people with all of the technology that we have. For example, if you're making a homemade Dungeons and Dragons campaign, there's Mr. Rex, there's AJ Pickett, and those are just two that I can name off the top of my head, along with another 24 people that explain monsters and the lore and legends of the Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, and other Dungeons and Dragons tools for the game. So you can flush out being a dungeon master or creating a character by watching all of their videos. Because these guys have taken the time to go through all of the canon, the dungeon magazines that not everybody has access to, but now that the internet is here, everybody has access to. And I learned more watching them, and then I thought back, it's like, God, I really misused that monster in a campaign 30 years ago. And it's the same thing for writing, because there were two things that were the major problem for comic books back in the 2010s and the 20-aughts. Printers, marketing. Both of those things are fantastically expensive because, and I know I've said this on the reason that we went from printing on paper to printing on DVDs and CDs was no printer wanted to take our job. It was, we would have to sell the comics for $6 or $7 a issue for it to break even. And that's just like, at one point you get to the point where you're like, I just, no. So we got a deal of the lifetime on the first one, and excuse me, and on the second one, yay, Ron's back. We went to comic book shops and says, "Is it okay if they're on CDs?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll sell them." All right, it's working.
Hey.
There you are.
Hey. There we go. Everybody's still working. Okay, I kept on. I get that far, and then you guys are just great.
Zero Fox
Thank
X-ray.
you.
Zero Fox X-ray. Isn't that from,
Yeah.
from Thunderdome? Thank you for joining us, sir. How's everything going?
Thank you. Things are well. How are you?
Doing good. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing good.
Maybe we'll talk later about that.
So, no, that's oh, never mind. Ignore me. So we were talking about, we're talking about the independent comic book world. Before that, we were talking about owls. Well, we're like a neighborhood away from each other. Do you guys have an owl that meows like an angry cat?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. My neighbors have talked about it. Robbie told me that Robbie's a full-grown man. He's not a youth. He has children. So yeah, we heard this really weird meow, and then when we shined up a light in the tree, it was an owl, and it meowed at us and then flew away, and it had a cat in its claws. So it's like there's an owl in our neighborhood that's hunting cats using a cat call. Because owls are actually really smart.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's International Owl Day.
Is it really? Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah. No, we had an owl a couple different times, but not real common, and never heard one make a noise like that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and it's White Wine Day. Let me see if I can recall it from just looking at it for a few minutes. White Wine Day, Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, Coast Guard Day, Owl Day, and Single Mother's Day. Single Mother's Working Day.
I've enjoyed one of those today so far.
Hopefully chocolate chip cookies. No, we were eating owls earlier. They were delicious. And I got this shirt on. Thank you, Ron, again. This shirt is awesome. Guy will
Those are very
hopefully
cool.
be joining. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that I like that shirt. I wear that all the time. I've got one just like it.
Oh, right on. Lunk was unable to make it with us tonight. Guy, he had some family stuff coming up, so hopefully he'll join us soon.
Very cool.
But yeah, your point about the mimicking, I was just looking, and owls are known to be able to mimic certain types of owls. They're talking about the burrowing owl being one in particular that will mimic the sound of a rattlesnake.
Really?
Because the supposition is that it's done with the intent of protecting their burrows from potential other predators. But that would explain why the Druidic style religions of Europe viewed the owl different than the Native American religions in North America did.
Yeah.
Because at night, what are some of the other creatures that exist in the religious context in Native American? You have the shapeshifters. I won't use the name, but you have the shapeshifters that exist at night, and they are known to be mimics. And so that was always a concern of the dark side, whereas in the European area, that was a sign of an intellect, of an ability to understand. So the owl could speak to others. The owl could mimic, therefore was able to communicate with others outside their own species. Therefore, they became the intellect.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the movie Thunder? Go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say, are owls associated with witches as well? I can't remember that being a real strong association.
The association I remember was more with the wizards, the druidic. So you would have the owls were that way, and then in the Greek mythos, you had owls that were messengers of God. And was it Hermes had the owl? And then the gods created a mechanical
Bubo and that 1980 Clash of the Titans.
The Harry Hamlin Clash of the Titans, yeah.
We were talking about it, and European to Native American, European owls are okay. As dated as it is, The Sword and the Stone, and as goofy as it is from Disney, Archimedes is kind of how owls are portrayed. In the 1950s, they're these pudgy, comical, wise little storytellers, and this is portrayed in Bambi, and it's not scary and creepy until Secret of Nim. Before that, they're these kind of like Wilford Brimley, goofy, cuddly.
Except for Tootsie Roll.
Except for what?
Except for Tootsie Rolls. For the lollipops, because of course Mr. Owl was a thief.
Mr. Owl, but he's wise.
Mr. Owl,
got a mortarboard.
He was wise enough to say, "Well, let me try."
Yeah.
3.
Whereas Secret of Nim, the owl is terrifying. We were just talking about it before you logged on. It's got John Carpenter's voice, which is iconically fucking creepy in every movie he's in, and So for Native Americans, have you both seen the movie Thunderheart with Val Kilmer and Graham Greene? And the owl is portrayed correctly in that movie as in Native American culture. The owl is a messenger of death. If you see an owl during daylight hours, someone close to you is about to die. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Harbinger of death. Where
in European culture, hey kids, let's talk about for owl, it's wisdom, and he's this jolly little purveyor. No, he's like the Grim Reaper to us. Fucking calm down, lady. So it's also interesting with the druidic sense, where I don't think it's until Harry Potter where they're more of like a familiar or Sword in the Stone with Archimedes. I happen to be a bird.
Yeah, they were always kind of a companion for powerful people, I guess. Would be a good way to say that, yeah.
Well, I think there are certain animals that are always going to have a mystique of the macabre. And, I mean, that's why I started doing the steampunking videos. We're getting close to Halloween, the best holiday ever, where as a kid you can dress up as whatever the hell you want and rob the entire neighborhood of candy. It's kid heaven. Now it's sad. There's barely any kids. There's just a bunch of adults standing there going, "What the hell happened?" This happens every year.
Well, everybody does the trunk and treats now, so they take kids out to the school. That's where they have many of the events.
I mean,
because it's much more controlled. And we had the times where we had predators who were doing things they should not have done on the streets. That has fallen off, thankfully, in many cases. But it's still a prevalent concern for many parents.
Yeah.
Younger, grave concern that somebody's going to snatch my kid because they heard about it from the generation ahead of them. So, when we were kids, the parents were like, "Oh, Halloween?
Good
all
luck.
Right, you got a flashlight? Do you have a flashlight? Because I don't want you fumbling for anything while you're walking here. Don't use the batteries up all the way. Come on, get out."
You had. No, what are you taking? The plastic pumpkin to put the candy in? Yeah. Put that down. You're not taking that back. That's one of my goddamn decorations. You go get a pillowcase right now.
That's right. Just
Make
like
sure you
everybody
get a lot of
else.
Butterfinger because
That's right. Take this 55-gallon garbage sack and go get everything you can and bring it home. Yes, sir.
Not a problem at all.
Even back then, there were houses and there were families that really tried and went above and beyond. God, I love those. But that's the problem. Yes, the trunk and parking lot thing is it's safe, yeah, but you're taking away the greatest part of Halloween, which is the anticipation of I'm gonna knock on that door. What the hell is gonna answer? You know.
All right. Yeah.
See,
who's going to be there, and they're going to drag you away, and you'll never be seen again. That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I sit out front, but I have my laptop running, and I have because the Scottish Rite does the ghost hunt every year. So when they start it, it's usually about 6:30 here. So the young kids start coming through, and I have it running, and you can hear, hey, now we're going into this room. So sometimes you get the adults. What are you watching there? Oh, it's a live ghost hunt back in Washington, D.C.
What?
Oh, my God, really? So.
What did you want us to do on Halloween?
This is what the first year
Christmas movies.
I was here at COVID. And that first year, it was really bad. I pulled the trucks out of the driveway. And I had one of those great big tubs from Home Depot. And I just filled it to the top with candy. And I put it halfway down the driveway. And I pulled out the forge and the anvil. And I sat out there working a forge. And that was the best Halloween ever because the parents were still bringing the kids, but everybody was keeping their distance, whatnot. But the parents were having a field day because the kids came over. They wanted to get it. And the parents said, what are you doing? Oh, well,
beating the shit out of metal. You want to help? Yeah.
I kept thinking, if I could get away with it, it would be worthwhile one year to just have the parents' Halloween out here and have cold snacks, plenty of proper 12-ounce. And then the parents said, hey, your kids can go up and down this block 3 or 4 times. You guys can relax.
Yeah, there's one of the neighborhood here that does the same thing. Yeah, they do the trick or treat for adults and some adult beverages and some snacks, and it's a good house. It's one of my favorites.
Nope.
I still want to do mini haunt here, but I got to get rid of all the parts now. But to do it in your front yard wouldn't be that hard. You could probably do 3 or 4 rooms in your front yard, Rob. The best
just
is
let them pet.
Go ahead.
Just let them pet the wolf.
Well, not even that. You've got the little retaining wall, so all you have to do is put up either PVC or rebar, and then use a lot of plastic, maybe a little bit of chain link fence, and just do 3 or 4 rooms and 2 hallways, and you could have like 2 or 3 people just torture those kids while the adults get 5 minutes to themselves, because that's what they want. They want to hear their children scream, know that they're completely safe, and then they want to have an adult conversation and go, oh, did you like that? It's fake blood, Billy. Shut up. The man told you it was fake blood. I don't know why you're yelling.
And a lollipop. Congratulations.
Halloween is the best because Halloween is it's my favorite holiday. Yes, I love Halloween, which I absolutely love Christmas too. I don't like hate holidays. That's the stupidest thing ever. Ooh, I hate holidays. I'm sorry you had a bad time. Get over it. It's a new year, new holiday. So, but I think that Halloween represents there's something incredibly primal about the interaction of being a haunt performer and scaring the living piss out of somebody in the hallways or in the room or whatever, and watching the whites of their eyes get huge as they scream from the diaphragm. And yeah, it's deafening, but half of you is like, whoa, but the other half's like, but to hear children going through that, because the whole point of Halloween is it's safe terror, like a roller coaster, like a horror movie, like a scary story, like a horror, like a Stephen King novel. You're fine. You're not in any danger. You're sitting there reading in the library or in your bed, and it's the same kind of. It's not real. The best thing is a haunted house is you kill people in there. That's terribly bad for business. If we killed them, they wouldn't come back. Oh yeah, you're right. But
I need you to come back. I want you to come back and be scared again.
Yeah, all of your best Halloween outings have terror in them on one level or another, whether it's innocent kid terror or later juvenile ne'er-do-well terror, or later when you're an adult scaring the shit out of the children that are coming to your house. But I've noticed that Halloween is a time capsule now because it's the one night of the year you're allowed to yell at all the neighborhood children and the adults just kind of laugh. Because I'm out there on the sidewalk. Go, go, go! You've only got one night. You're burning moonlight, kids. You've got to get as much candy as you possibly can. Don't you understand what tonight is all about? And the parents just laugh, and I'm really loud, and my voice is booming, and my neighbors are laughing, and now the parents are laughing, and they're like, yeah, you listen to that man. Now I've lived here 30 years, and when I'm not working at a haunt, or when they were little, I mean, the youngest one is 22, when I was taking them trick-or-treating, no one has ever yelled back at me for yelling at their kids. Well, okay, I never want to get political on the show, but my neighbor had a certain political campaign slogan in her living room, and the dad of these two kids were the opposite party, and they said, let's go to that house. And he said, no, they're a this and that supporter. We can't. And I said, hey, politics do not exist on Halloween. Halloween is about stealing candy. And the dad started laughing his ass off. And he's like, he's right. Go to that house right now.
Get all you can.
And, of course, she's the sweetest lady in the world. So it was like Jeannie was like, oh, hi. Hello, kids. You know, like,
my ex-wife burned me out on holiday. Because she was the one that the holidays were hers. So Halloween was her holiday. And every year she had to have everything had to be new. She couldn't put out the same things that she had last year. And Christmas was even worse because Christmas was hers and the tree was hers and everything in the house was hers. And so I got to the point where I just, that's why now for Christmas, it has become the tradition in my house that all the grandkids come over and they put up Grandpa's Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And part of that is that they come over for the whole day. So we'll do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. And we go out and we buy ornament kits so that the kids can make an ornament. But I buy the big kits. So there's like 30 different things that they can do. So it's like, you make as many ornaments as you want, guys. You write your name on the back and the year, you put it on top of this tree. Because I told them my biggest hope is that before I die, 1 year, that tree will be nothing but their ornaments. Yeah. Their ornaments. And because my mother saved ornaments. My sister and I were little kids. And so the grandkids love them because they look at them and go, where's Papa's ornament when he was a kid? Where's the other one? So they want to put those up there. And that, to me, is what it's all about. Halloween has become, I just do Halloween here, but my sons have gone to making sure that their kids get to go out and experience Halloween in a similar fashion to what they did, but without somebody telling them, oh, but, we have to have all the new, latest, greatest, whatever. It's like, no, let's go to somebody else's house and tear up their shit.
I remember one
I
year.
want to be for Halloween. I want to be the guy that the kids remember as the guy who always had a big bucket of. Nobody walked away with a little bite-sized Snicker like that.
Mhm.
They show up and I've got meat hooks.
Yeah.
There you go. Go get. Keep the dentist happy. There you go, kids. Keep going. Have a good time.
One year, I think Hannah was 8, so Finn would have been 2. There was one year where Christine. There was one year I didn't work at the haunt, and Hannah was in a clown outfit, and it was the clown outfit that I wore when I was like 7 years old. And my mother made this, and it was a patchwork, kind of like a calico clown outfit. So I'm like, all right. And she really wanted to go trick or treating. I said, I will totally go trick or treating with you. So I had veiny leather bat wings. I still have them. And I had a really crappy brown tunic. And I put black or brown Ren Fair pants on, and I had biker boots that I was using as Ren Fair boots, and like a white shirt. And then I actually spent a good 40 minutes doing white and then green and then outlined it in black and then patted it in with talcum powder. So I was the Grim Reaper. And she would go to the door and I would stand on the sidewalk and say nothing. And Christine did all her makeup and she just looked adorable. She's like, blonde, curly, frizzy hair in this little, I'm a clown. Oh! And so the old women were just eating it up. And then, well, thank you. And then I would yell from the sidewalk, Happy Halloween! And they would look up at me, and I had a giant scythe with a skull on it. It's broken now. Oh, my God! Say thank you, Hannah! That's your dad? And then they wanted to, that makeup is great. Thanks, because if you have it done, if it's on your face and you're just running around, you don't even think about it. Like, I just did what I would have done. I did what I would have done to stand in line for Ted to airbrush me, and then more sealer and talcum powder, and then boom, into your room, go. First position. Do you hear screams? I haven't heard any screams. Did they say fresh meat yet? I don't think they came in the room. So that's all night. I yelled Happy Halloween from the sidewalk, and all night, whoa, death is here. How you doing? Don't touch my kid.
You're the one that was making Grandpa Simpson's happy.
Yeah. Death! Grandpa, that's the cat. Oh, death! Grandpa, that's Maggie. Oh, death! Yeah. No, I got a lot of compliments. I think that's it. That's another reason why I want to do another. I want to do a haunt at the house, or at either one of your houses or anybody's house, because it's those rumors that, make Halloween strong again. Because you only have so many years to trick or treat. And then after that, you just go to haunted houses. And the problem is that, let's be honest, depending on how big your city is, there are going to be so many professional ones, and then there's going to be neighborhood ones. And you literally now, with the internet, oh my God, I heard about this haunt 2 towns away that it's a hallway and 5 rooms. I'll go, oh my God, yeah, when? When does it open? Only on Halloween? Fuck. Okay, we'll get there early. Because I want to, the problem is that now I'm like a fucking director. I can't go to, this is wrong. You should have something here. You came out too soon. Where's your bait? Yeah.
That's why I have a hard time going to see horror movies. Yeah. After working and doing makeup and all the rest of that stuff.
At that. You sit there. Slap. This lighting is wrong. Yeah. That's not scary. This has the hospital effect, not the creepy effect. It does. It fucks you up. Like Scott Brisbane ruined movies for me. I can no longer look at them as these beautiful dreams on the silver screen. This angle, that angle, zoom, pan, music, dialogue, narration. Yeah, you're right. Taking all the art out of it. It's just okay. But I
The
also
imagination,
love him. Oh,
the
go ahead.
memescape is gone.
Well, but then when it was like we were talking about writing movies, and I believe it or not, I had a phone conversation with Cliff, and he's still fighting kidney stones, but he's doing a lot better. We're sending him positive vibes, but we still wanted to make, and I think we should do it too. Uh, Trailers for movies that do not exist.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. I like that one.
Locally in the 90s, there was a sketch comedy show called TV or Not TV. And I've talked about him before. And Jason Barth lived with them, and it was John King and Steve Benich and uh, uh, Paul Hornsby and uh, Christopher Lamont. And this was like a 4 or 5 bedroom house. It was pretty. It was over at like 16th Street and like Mountain View Dunlap in the Sunny Slope area, and like 2 of them shared a room, and like Paul had his own room, John had his own room, and Jason, I don't know if he shared a room with one of them or not, but the master bedroom, like 2 or 3 of them were in there, and they had a sketch comedy show, and they did a bit that was just absolutely, there were many bits that were hysterical. And I've looked all over for it. It doesn't exist anymore. But they did they did a bit about the spaghetti westerns, but everything was with cheese. From the makers of A Few Nachos More, and the good, the bad, and the Gouda, the bad, and the ugly. And everything was cheese themed, and they threw slices of cheese instead of using guns because they couldn't afford guns in the or horses. So it's that level of, you don't have to have a whole lot of money, you just have to be creative and have access to costuming. That's the biggest thing. Location is easy. We live in the desert.
Remember, Sick and or Twisted are bonus points.
One of the best, it's a bunch of little bits, and the best bit is this one, I can't remember which actor it was, but he just looks like Clint Eastwood, and he walks up to the saloon. Can I help you, stranger? I'd like a cold milk in a dirty glass. And there's 2 guys standing next to him. Cold milk in a dirty glass? What kind of pansy-ass drink is that? You got a problem with dairy products? Let's get out of here! And they run away, and he throws cheese at them, and they die. Again, it's that airplane, like the new Naked Gun. At first I was like, no. Oh, wait a minute, it's Liam Neeson. This could be really good. He's excellent at deadpan comedy. If you're going to have somebody play Leslie Nielsen's son, can you think of somebody else that's better? Because I really can't. Maybe Nathan Fillion, but, Gary Oldman maybe. Sacha Baron Cohen, he can be anybody. He's probably one of us right now. We don't even realize it. Me, right? Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was checking. I had to make sure.
I was wearing my underwear, so I knew I had to be me. Let me check. Yep, that's okay.
I heard my voice, and I was wearing my underwear.
I felt the pain in my shoulder, so I knew I was me again, and not the body I was in before. Yeah.
Rob, did you ever have bullies when you were trick-or-treating as a kid? That would try to steal your candy?
Never had anybody try to steal our candy. There were always bullies in the neighborhood, the ones that they're the older kids that always wanted to kind of give you a hard time. But there was usually only 1 or 2 of those. There were a lot more of the older kids that were out there still trick-or-treating, which was kind of cool. So they were the ones that kind of kept. You had one or two that were knobs that were going to just cause a problem, and
Right.
if they were out there causing problems, and the ones that knew you and knew about them showed up, usually they were outnumbered. And knobs would beat it. So
At 50th Street in Pershing, right by you know, your parents' old house there. That family on the south side of the street, like 3 houses in, they go all out for Halloween. One year it was a Egyptian theme, and they made a big pyramid, and they had like 7 or 8 of the big 12-foot skeletons, and probably another 2 dozen of the smaller ones, all dressed as pharaoh. The cats, skeleton cats everywhere, skeletons everywhere, and lights and noise. And a couple years ago it was pirates, so they had a big pirate ship that was half a pirate, like the facade of a pirate ship, and all the skeletons were dressed as pirates, and they had cutlasses and daggers and pistols, and it's like, oh my god, I love you guys. I can't wait to see what they do this year. I don't think I got
when I
all.
grew up,
Oh, go ahead.
the neighborhood was like people that really went all out. You knew, and this is back when Spencer's was the place to get it. So back in the 70s and the 80s, you had the black lights, and you remember the old strobes. So they came in a little wooden box, and they had the multi-mirror, and you go blind walking into them, and they would, and these people would go all out. They would have a field day, but they had the old, we had the old type stereos, so they'd be playing the haunted house record on the sound system with the speakers in the front yard or the speakers on the front porch. All the lights are out, and then they wait for you, and you come walking up, and they turn up the music, and they turn on all the lights. They'd have a field day with it. Had a good time. Scare the shit out of you as a 6-year-old.
I got a couple people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's awesome. Was thinking about. I was asking about the people stealing candy. I don't know if Bill, if you remember, we were probably in middle school, and we were still trick or treating, and I had an electric guitar as part of my costume.
Yes.
And some older kids came by and tried to grab my candy, and they grabbed somebody else's. I think there's 3 of us. They grabbed one guy's, and they tried to grab mine. And I chased them about 2 or 3 blocks down the road with my electric guitar being held like a swinging it over my head, going, yeah! And they just freaked out and dropped it.
You made somebody's Halloween right there.
You've always been
Jesus Christ, he lost his mind.
You've always been a peasant hero. There's proof again. Right on. No, Halloween is completely unique because it's like a bunch of other holidays that we've done it on the podcast before. We talked about Yule and Saturnalia, and because that's kind of been like split over time. But the best part about getting older in Halloween is going to the haunted houses and working at the haunted houses and making people pee their pants, and that is so gratifying. Sorry, got the itch. I haven't done it in 10 years. I scared somebody the other day at work, and I'm in the lobby. I've got dark blue pants on, a white shirt. Lexi walks out of the back. I walk up to Lexi. She had just talked to me on the phone earlier about something that was needing to be done. I walk up and start talking to her, and she screams. Ah! She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I got scared about that. You're standing out in the open, and you have a white shirt on. I know, thank you. Damn, I'm good. I mean, I didn't even try. I mean, I haven't lost the touch at all. Sometimes I worry that I've lost my edge, but thank you. God damn it, I miss it. So, Ron, and all the camping Bigfoot stories.
Oh,
He's Bigfoot. He's Bigfoot.
I don't have a good Bigfoot story. I've got a good UFO story.
Oh, go.
We were camping, and one of the adults that was with us came running, literally full speed, panicked, can't get the word out, and he was just pointing at the sky, going. And we finally calmed down. We went out and looked. Sure enough, there's a bright silver thing in the sky,
Pyramid
and
shape.
right since it, yeah, pear shaped.
Pear
Actually, it looks exactly like like upside down pear. On Google Maps, if you drop a pin on something, that's exactly the shape it was. And it took us about 2 minutes before we realized that it was a weather balloon. But it was really cool. I mean, got everybody excited for a while. Like, oh my gosh! But it is a weather balloon.
That's awesome.
That had a good, I guess it could have been a Bigfoot story, but I don't know. We did wake up to an ungodly scream at 5 a.m. 2 mornings in a row, and that was pretty cool. Up in Camp Geronimo, actually, just below the
Really?
rim. So it's good. Yeah, it's a good location.
I heard that scream at 11 years old
Mm-hmm.
because I remember hearing an ungodly scream at that because I told my dad about it after he woke up, and he's like, you know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it might have been a dream. Oh well, you might have been right. I
I
thought it
was
was
sleeping in a
Bigfoot.
hammock out in the open, and heard that and just sat straight up. Oh god!
Yeah, ready for
Figured
battle.
out it was a mountain lion. It was actually a mountain lion, as we figured out with the noise,
Huh. All
and
these years I was
which
hoping it
is
was. Yeah, no.
I'm not sure which is worse. Uh, I think Bigfoot would do worse. I think the Bogeyman monster
Well,
would do
I
worse.
think the Mugion Rim Monster, Bigfoot, or a mountain lion, when you are sleeping and you hear it on the verge, edge of your subconscious, when you're lying there in a meditative state and your body's getting ready to wake up, but your mind fully hasn't woken up yet. And I
Hmm.
was a preteen. Remember, we had that dad and sons go to Camp Geronimo, and I was like 10
Hmm.
or 11. And I remember hearing that noise. So, damn it, I was hoping it was a Bigfoot all these years. But now you're right. It's probably a mountain
Yeah,
lion.
it took me a couple of days after we got back to
Damn
town,
it. Oh, well.
looking for
Still a cool
stuff, and I'm
story.
like, I finally found it. Yeah, it was one of those things that turns your blood to ice. You just I won't forget that sound uh, ever. I don't think I'll ever forget that sound.
No, not anytime soon. And it probably wakes you up in the middle of the night. Like, you hear it in your sleep because it's nature. And nature is cruel and
Nature is trying to kill you.
pretty much. Yeah. We're soft and weak, and nature isn't. And it'll eat your babies. Nature wants to eat your babies. Like and subscribe, folks. Thank you. What's the biggest scout group you've ever had one time doing camping? Because I remember back when
Uh,
being Weeblos and going out on camp and powwows and stuff. And dude, there were tons of us. Like 607 was a huge pack comparatively.
mhm.
Like some of the like
What troop were you guys in?
we back in the day when we were kids, we were in 607. Remember?
I didn't make the Boy Scouts. So
No, no,
you
no,
were in
no.
607
Cub Scouts,
for
Weeblos.
Scouts? Okay.
I decided I didn't want to go into Cub Boy Scouts for two reasons. For one, going to work and saving money to buy a car was a much more attractive offer. And two, there was no 607 for Boy Scouts. It was only 911 and 911 were our enemies. Why in the fuck would I've been hating these kids for 2 years? Why would I want to join them? So I didn't join Boy Scouts. I got to Weeblos. And luckily, my father was like super Boy Scout, so we got all of the merit badges in Weeblo. this. I was looking at the book, and there's this. That's really easy. Let me show you how to do that. Okay. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
What I
very
didn't
cool.
actually
Yeah,
do.
we never had huge ones. We never had a huge group. The biggest group we ever had was probably like 40 people total, um,
That's it.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. We didn't do groups. Well, in Cub Scouts, I guess Cub Scouts we had probably some bigger ones because it was all those kids and all their families. But in Boy Scouts it was maybe 40. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
40 people, something like that. It was up at Milk Ranch Point, which was on top of the room, and it was awesome. It was just beautiful, clear sky. You could actually see the Milky Way.
Oh wow.
There's like no moon. It was awesome. It was too cool.
Hey, for us in the '80s, Cub Scouts was a gateway to Dungeons and Dragons. All of the younger kids knew about it because all of their older brothers and cousins knew about it and told them about it, and that's all we talked about.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a big deal.
And now well, I've decided
Still playing?
well, yeah, we got to get another game going. Well, now that I'm no longer working at Tapatio Cliffs. I'll give you the details
Oh,
off.
okay. Yeah.
We came to a mutual understanding that I'm not going to work there anymore. So no, I was there today, talking to ex coworkers, picking up cans and stuff, but especially with this, how are we going to play video games and board games and do tabletop RPGs if I'm at work 6 nights a week? Because every night it's like, can you work tomorrow? Can you work? Can you stay till 3? Can you stay till 3? Can you stay till 3? 3 weeks ago, I worked 52 hours, and then they had to.
Wow.
I know I keep bitching about this. I would have worked another 30 if they would have let me, but they kept sending me home. But and then on my day off, I worked another 7.5. So it's not like I was like, dude, I'm a all that is man, baby. I'll work as many hours as you're gonna pay me for, but you're gonna pay me because
time and a half.
yeah, I don't
It's a
want to
good
get
thing.
paid for money. I don't want to get paid for work I didn't do. But if I did the work, decorate my hand. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So
Hey,
yeah,
upsucker. So were you working till 3 a.m.?
some nights, yes. So
Okay.
if one of the overnight, because it's a 24-hour facility like a hospital or a gas station or a diner, so there's a day crew, a midday crew, and an overnight crew, and I was on
Mhm.
the midday crew, where when you work the second shift at any facility, this isn't just that location. This was the same at gas stations. This was the same at when I worked. I was a record keeper at several medical facilities way back in the late '90s, and it's the same thing where the night crew and the morning crew and the overnight crew are at war with one another, and the middle crew is caught in the middle. Whether you're working 1:30 to 9:30 or 3 to 11, you have to kind of fix everything the first shift did because usually it's busy and they're overwhelmed. And then I would go out of my way to prep for the third shift guys.
Hmm.
And I found out, later, they really appreciated that. Dude, you should be paying it forward. We're all in the same team.
Right.
So they're going to have fun with that now that I'm gone. Oh, well. That's work. We can still go do ghost hunting there. Like I was saying before, here's the list of rooms that people have died in. So I just got to get a job and make enough money to rent those rooms on Mischief Night and Halloween. And
I was going to say, make sure you are there on the right night. Do they have the date when they died?
No, but I could get it.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a good thing too. If they died on June 14th, and they show up on June 14th, and just see what you find.
This is why you need to be on every episode, Ron. That's true.
Be awesome.
Well done.
Or we go on June 15th and go, you're still here.
Well, I always would tell people that the Sunset Cabana pool was haunted, and several times women agreed with me and said that yeah, they don't like that pool and all that, and housekeepers wouldn't clean the pool. They refused to clean the pool, so
Oh, wow.
maybe he's being creepy with chicks. I don't know. I don't know what the guy was like. I don't know anything about him. He died in the pool because he drank too much and was doing drugs. That's a dangerous cocktail when you're on vacation.
Yeah, you should not be trying to swim.
Yeah.
Or float. Or, just whatever you're trying to do.
My favorite was when I went down to the adult pool and I got called there for a music disturbance. Okay. And they've got this cylindrical speaker that's about that big. It fits in a duffel bag. And they are just blasting music. This is the equivalent of going to Chili's. But I'm just going to put my speaker right here and turn it to 11. Oh, you enjoying your jalapeno poppers? Fuck your jalapeno. I mean, that's the equivalent. So I walk up, and of course, this is why we're in Multiverse M now. It's a bunch of very attractive, slim women in bikinis with a bunch of Chads with them. Is it Chads now or Todds or?
I think it's Chad.
Is it Chad?
I think it's Chad.
I don't want to be politically correct. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so there. And my argument is, hi, yeah, we need to have that turned down. I'm sorry, but you don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to fill out reports. Please just turn it down. Why? No. We got complaints. Well, who complained? It doesn't matter. I'm here. I have been summoned. Someone rubbed the lamp. Here I fucking am. Turn it down. This is a bar. It's not open. Right there, you can use the QR code, the code on your phone. I don't know. QR? Is it QR? It's QR.
Yep.
And you can order drinks from Point in Time. John Jay or one of the other, Ronnie or one of the girls, either one of the boys, or there's only two dudes and a bunch of girls that do it. They'll bring it to you. They'll bring it to you. Turn the music down. You can order drinks. And they turn it down. And I'm like, I take 2 steps. I look in the duffel bag that this blonde has. Okay. Put that away. Why? What's wrong? You can't have a 2-foot dildo with balls attached at the adult pool. This is the adult pool, not the adult pool. Do you understand me? And then she started waving around. I'm like, I'm not joking. You need to put it away. I don't want to kick you out of the pool. Oh, I'm sorry. Dude, this isn't fucking Vegas. If you want that, go to Vegas. This is fucking Phoenix. It's the conservative Wild West. Fucking, ugh. That shit's fine in Reno. It's not cool in Phoenix.
We'll take that up to 10 people.
Go to Mesa. That's for Buckeye after dark.
So they've been looking for you in Apache Junction. I can give you an address. There you go.
And they were good for about an hour, and then I went back, and they had had a lot to drink, and the music's back up, and they're all yelling, and she's waving the dildo, a giant dildo around. Because, it was huge. It had a bell end on the top of it, and I was like, I'm glad you're proud of that, but this is the adult pool, but there's still 4 levels of families. This is That's why I'm okay with not working there anymore. I'm tired of arguing with alcoholics and drunks. that want to try. Like I went to the Panda Express at 40th and Thunderbird, and I was overly polite to the chick, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I appreciate that. And at one point, she looked at me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be creepy. It's just I work security at the restaurant. I'm used to people trying to fight me, so I'm really appreciative when I get good customer service. Been doing it for over 35 years. Damn it! It takes a lot of patience to stand there and smile when your life is falling apart.
This is true.
And go there every day and stock those fucking shelves and dish that shit out. Though, I had an epiphany while I was at Panda Express. They have it on a little thing. Fast food ain't what it used to be. Used to be a manager of a McDonald's or one of these places would make $32,500 for a year back in the late 80s. Now there's a sign, Panda Express, restaurant general manager, $80K a year.
Mm-hmm. I still wouldn't touch that job. No way. That's way too much work for that amount of money. Those guys don't get paid anywhere near enough.
I have a food handler's license. 80K a year would buy a lot of engines and parts.
80K a year, buy a lot of beer.
Beer. Jim Beam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever hard liquor I'm currently fixated on. Well,
Hmm.
yeah. Pay off the house. That would be priority one.
That'd be nice.
I've been doing my due diligence besides the steampunking. I'm just going to flat black all of the parts in my backyard. So I've been working pretty good on that 54 Chevy step-side truck. And I got the water pump off that engine. I don't know if that 235 is ever going to turn over again, but I hear that a Chevy six-banger never dies. So I'm willing to put that to the test. Yeah, all of you laugh, but you never know. We need one good win. That may be it. In the meantime, I've been taking off all the paint and so much Bondo.
Oh, sure. I would believe that.
Yeah. It's okay. In the end, it'll all be flat black. I found a picture of like a 64 and somebody had just flat blacked it. Oh yeah, the body is flawless. But speaking of flawless, so I have that bumper for the front and I'm wondering, it's actually in pretty good shape. Should I just flat black it or should I just clear coat it?
Is it chrome now?
Well,
Chrome flaking away and rust.
it was white. I got over 1,100 views on it. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that. Like and subscribe. No, it was white, and I just used the SCT and my drum sander.
Flat it out. Yeah. Flat it out with prime, black prime.
Okay.
That way,
Ron, do you agree?
it's ready, and you can apply any color over the top. So you get a direct metal primer. It's a flat black or the dark gray. Run that out on it. That gives you two things. It covers it, gives you the practice with using, and it's primed and ready. You could hit it with anything you want after that.
The whole truck's gonna be flat black.
It'll be our mascot truck for this podcast.
Nice.
I was hoping everybody would like it. All I need for it, I have everything. All I need is a hood and a bed. And you don't even really need a bed. We can make one out of C channel and wood.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can get it. I found a Project 1950 Chevy in New Mexico, and he only wanted $500 for it. And I sent the Facebook Marketplace to Pete, and he just kind of chuckled about it. And I'm like, dude, $500. I need that hood. I need that bed. And then I talked to Judy about it, And then when we looked for it again, pulled. It's gone. Somebody got it. Oh!
So I got it.
Okay. I need that. I don't want to pay you separate prices for the... Pete's got them. I'll just have to pay for them. Whether cash, which is what he wants, or indentured servitude.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have plenty of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Oof.
No?
In the middle of summer, huh?
Nah.
No, thank you.
I got the shop. I can turn the evaporative cooler on. It's one of those giant 7-foot, 6-foot.
Portacool.
Yep.
Except when monsoon actually hits.
Then
so this week you can still use it.
Yeah.
Next week?
I don't know. I think you're right. I don't know. We're probably going to get the monsoon this week, maybe next week.
That's what I saw. I saw some AccuWeather thing that they were talking about. They're anticipating the earliest we might see moisture out of, as a result of the heat dome that we're dealing with now, is the 10th. Is what they were thinking as of this morning. And I thought, well, that kind of goes along with some of the things that I've been seeing myself, and I've heard actual meteorologists and intelligent people talk about that. It seems that our monsoon season itself, the time that we are seeing the storms, has been shifting further and further out from the traditional time. We used to start June, we would start getting our storms. July, we would get inundated. August, it would calm down. We'd get the last hurrah in September, and then you were into the winter season. But now, that seems to be a shift. We're seeing those storms because the heat is so much, storms can't break the heat island until we get past the peaks that usually start or usually come about this time of the year. August, we have our peak, then it starts to drop. The moisture gets the opportunity to then break over the mountain. And then we start to see the actual storms coming in. So there's a bit of a shift time-wise in what we've been seeing, and it seems to have been progressing for the last decade or so, very slowly. But when you look at it over an extended period, that seems to be the march that we're seeing.
I believe it. Yeah, I remember it was always in June. Was always, mid to late June is when it would start. And 4th of July was frequently a question mark because you'd go to see fireworks and then they'd have a big monsoon storm or a big dust storm. And there's been several years we went there and the fireworks, the storm the wind was enough that it would blow the fireworks into the audience. That happened twice.
I remember going to Phoenix Community Stadium 100 years ago to see the fireworks as a kid.
100 years ago.
And and the storm comes rolling through, and everybody's sitting there waiting, and you're watching and getting ready, and then you see the storm building, and then it just became, for my father and the other dads that were there, it became kind of the running bet. What do you guys think? You think we're going to get the storm before the fireworks?
Or after?
What do you think it's going to break over?
I think I want to watch everyone run to their cars. I mean, it's kind of cold, but it's awesome. That's right, Hank. I agree, because growing up, June-ish, maybe 4th of July or mid-July, then not so much in August, maybe in August. September was a question mark, like Ron said. Definitely one in the 2nd or 3rd week of October. Maybe before Thanksgiving, but definitely before Christmas. And then after that, it was kind of sketchy, but February, oh God, definitely rain in February.
Yep, and I can remember snow.
Wow.
In town.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't stay for long.
I can remember. Oh, it's been a very long time. I remember I was at, let's see, I was at ASU mid '80s, and it snowed, and it was a big deal because it was actually collecting on the ground, and they made a point of talking about it while we were at the university because the last time it had done that was in the late 1880s
I think it was 85.
when it was it was the school. So they were the teaching school at that time, and they had all the pictures of the snow. And it may have been the early 1900s, but they had pictures of the snow outside the old Union Building in Tempe, and we're all looking at us like, hey, that's more than we got today, but yeah, we'll take it.
It snows every year. You can see it in the glow of the street light, but as soon as it hits the ground, dude, it's water. It's so hot here.
Well, it used to be. Remember that it used to be the Phoenix Open. Now and Phoenix Open used to get snowed out one day every year.
Not anymore.
They would have snow on the greens, and they would have to call it at least for the morning, and then after everything kind of burned off. But it got to be kind of the regular thing, and usually it was Wednesday or Thursday. They would have to call off that particular event because there was actually snow on the greens at Phoenix Open.
Well, and that's interesting too, because I can remember. Okay, 91. There was a snow because I bought the cloak I still have because it was that fucking cold out at Ren Fair, and the Superstitions had snow on them, and that's only happened like 3 or 4 times doing Ren Fair from 91 to 2015. It's not common. It's rare. I told a stranger today, and we laughed about it. Hey, this temperature, 110 degrees, is the high price we pay for never having to shovel snow here in the valley. And I'm okay with that.
Right. That was what my dad told the guys. He was an alert bomber pilot in New Hampshire. And so he went through a couple of winters there, and they got the opportunity to go back to Davis Monthan. And then they were getting sent out again to the East Coast, and then the opening showed up to come back here. Everybody says, why the hell would you want to go to Arizona in the middle of the summer? He says, I never have to shovel sunshine, assholes. Done my tour.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell everybody how hot it is, and they don't want to come here. Just don't bother. You wouldn't like it no matter what. It's 115 all year round. Just don't show up. That's good.
Just enjoy. Go ahead.
Tell them what I tell them. You know, last week the jackalope saw its shadow, so that means we got 6 more months of summer, and then we're right into Thanksgiving.
So you just tell them, it's not hell, but I can see the gates here.
It's not hell, but Satan's laugh is infectious. You just kind of,
Right. Keep your eyes open. If you see 2 little short guys carrying a ring headed towards the south, you know it's going to.
Yeah. You know that song, La Cucaracha? It's not about cockroaches. It's about burning to death in hell.
Right.
We're on fire, and we're on fire, and we scream on
right. What's the other name for the superstitions? Shit. Oh, that's right, Mordor.
It's called Mummy Mountain. That's right, because it's just like Egypt. Just keep walking.
Hey, Steve Martin said it best. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia.
He's my favorite honky. Funky toad. Buried with a donkey. Oh, Steve Martin. The Jerk is still one of the best movies ever. I have Man with Two Brains up here on my shelf. The best part of Man with Two Brains is when the accident happens and he talks to the little girl and he makes her repeat all of this highly technical, like neurosurgery. And then the little girl's like, I don't know if it's that. It might be just this. Oh my God! Just go make the phone call. Oh, why do other people have to have opinion? all of his movies are unsung comedy greats, and even his movies that are adapted from wonderful, excellent stories that we've had for a long time. Because Roxanne is multi-layered. It's not just about the conquest of wooing women. It's also teaching you that some women are really dumb and will fall for the dumbest shit. But then again, so will men. So it's equal. It's both sides. And then there is movies like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. He's so happy. He's crying. Because I guess there's going to be a new Pink Panther movie, and he's not going to be the Pink Panther. And the only one that comes to mind would be like Sacha Baron Cohen, who can pull off dry, sarcastic wit. But I think I can't remember who the Pink Panther's going to be in the next movie.
Yeah, I don't know who would be good for that.
I'd kind of like to see them. I'm a huge fan of Murder by Death. I think that was like that's up there with True Romance. It's one of the greatest movies nobody's seen because the cast is so awesome. I mean, you've got, you know how everybody goes crazy about the Bride of Frankenstein? What's the actress that played her? Elsa Lancaster?
Okay.
Murder by Death is like her last movie. She's like 900 years old. Sorry. But it's, have you ever seen it?
Murder by Death? Oh, yeah.
You haven't. Okay. Ron, luckily, thank God, you're familiar with all of the greats. So when I say Sam Spade, Humphrey Bogart, Dime Store Detective, so now he's Sam Diamond, and Peter Falk is playing him instead of, hold on, it gets way better. Okay, and then they've brought in Eileen Brennan to be, I can't remember what her name is, but she's his woman, his femme fatale. So, it's Hercule Poirot. Help me out.
Hercule Poirot?
Thank you. Always better than, yeah. So it's him, but instead of being, I can't remember the prolific actor that played him in all of the movies and Murder on the Orient Express. And no. His name is slightly different, and it's James Coco playing him. But his manservant is the very young James Cromwell, who will later be Farmer Hoggett and Star Trek and a shit ton of other movies. So, also, Charlie Chan, but he's played by Peter Sellers.
Nice.
Big house like man married to fat woman. Very hard to get around. That's not me. That's the movie. I know. I'm not on a kick tonight. That's just.
Peter Falk and Peter Sellers in the same movie. I might have to look that one up.
You're ready to. We're only halfway through. So, Nick and Nora Charles, who are the Thin Man, right? Now it's Dick and Dora, and David Niven is playing Nick Charles, and Dame Maggie Smith is playing Nora. They have a little dog, Asta, and everything. Who am I forgetting? Oh, what's her name is Agatha Christie. And oh, God, I got to look it up. Damn it, I should have done. I'm sorry. Like and subscribe. We don't do our homework. This is all wild. 100% pure barf, folks. Okay, talk amongst yourself. Wow, look up this classic
Right.
Blake Edwards film. The soundtrack is goofy. The movie is goofy. It's over the top.
Oh, well, it's played completely tongue in cheek, but it's not done so with the intent of just being stupid campy, going for cheap laughs. They are playing the characters. They're pulling in the characters, like Bill's saying. They're bringing in these characters that were known to our parents at the time, and that we picked up because we watched the movies with our parents on Saturday night or whatever the case to be. But they played it they played it serious
like
to the
Airplane.
presentation.
Like Airplane.
Yeah.
It's deadpan, but it's totally goofy. So Lionel Twain is he decides that he's smarter than all of the world's greatest detectives. And he is played by none other than Truman Capote.
You never get to see him, but you get to hear him.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, you don't really get to see him. And then, was it?
Hold on. So there is a mute maid that's played by Nancy Walker, who is Rhoda from our history. But even better, Sir Alec Guinness plays Benson Mum, the blind butler. So you have a mute maid and a blind butler running the entire... He's Milo Pierre, Tess Skeffington, so Nancy Walker, James Cromwell. The doorbell is a scream that's basically Fay Ray that's been recorded every time the doorbell goes off. She's Jessica Marbles, which is Miss Marbles or Miss Mabels from the Agatha Christie stories?
Miss Marple.
Marple. So she's her. So and we saw her all the time in like grandmother roles of stuffy English grandmothers in the 80s. But now, this is like the 70s before she even played those characters. And then Estelle Winwood is her nurse. And she is like super fucking old when this movie comes out. So the whole thing is campy, over the top, secret doors, robed assassins, and
it's everything that Clue wanted to.
It's literally, yes. Oh my God, yeah. It totally is. The guys that made Clue watched this movie and went, this is fucking amazing, which it is. And it's kind of, you're onto something. Did they make the Clue board game after this movie was made? Because
the game was around before the film.
Okay,
but
hold on.
The movie Clue was definitely done with the intent to be this film.
And here's why. Total spoiler alert. If you want to watch the movie, that's fine. Or if you watch Clue. The best part about Clue is the essence of the end of this movie. And what's the best part about Clue? At the very end, after it's all over, they go, and that's how it happened. Or is it? Or could it have been this way? And then they do it, and then this person. So this movie is the same, where after it's all over, individually, all of them come to the office at the end of the movie, and they explain why they've solved the crime, and he agrees with them, and they leave, or her, or whatever costume he's in. So it's essentially, it's this... Murder by Death and Clue are the same way that Black Hole and Event Horizon are the same. They're both, all four of them are awesome and love them individually, but yeah, it's the same movie a couple of decades later. It's fucking amazing.
That was part of that whole series that occurred. Blake Edwards, there were a number of films that were done in that time frame that harkened back. There were comedies that harkened back to these great original serious films that pulled in all the characters. So you had Young Frankenstein, You had Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Dead
You
Men Don't Wear
had
Plaid.
Murder by Death. You had all of these
Saturday
great
the
films
14th.
that were, yeah,
Schlock.
they were just, and they were the kind of movies where my parents wanted to take us to the movie because they enjoyed it. It was written to have, it was written with enough jokes and comedy and slapstick that as a kid, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
But it was perfect because my father and my mother could sit there and go, I remember that. Yes, I know. Oh, that's hilarious. That is incredible.
Uh-oh.
My grandparents could look at that film and go, oh my God.
Yeah.
They enjoyed every minute of it.
Are you getting the You Have to Go? Does
I am.
Does Laura want to come and talk about her chickens? Because that would be awesome.
This Laura what?
Come and talk about her chickens. Hey, you guys worked very hard. You built that whole hutch. Built 2 of them actually. If she
did.
Yeah, if she wants to come
Not
and
we.
talk
She.
about the chicken. No. I want to build a hutch
No.
and raise chickens. I'm dead
It's
serious.
pretty awesome.
I'm not. This is not a
It's pretty
joke. Sorry.
It's cooler than I had expected, and the chickens know that I'm the ice cream man. So I bring them
Ice cream.
leftover scraps, apple cores, that sort of thing. They see me, and they see me. They can see me in the kitchen, through the back door, and they're like, "Here, he's coming! He's coming!
It might be a lizard. It could be leftover veggies. We don't know yet. No, chickens. I'm amazed at the difference between chickens and ducks because even though we were around both of those growing up with all of the people that we grew up in our neighborhood, you and I, and, well, Guy came a little later because he was kind of like further out. And we didn't really meet him until like 6th grade when they restructured the school boundaries and we had to go to this. It's weird. Anyway, so ducks are actually really stupid. I didn't realize just how dumb they actually are. Where chickens, I thought, were inferior, are actually way smarter than ducks. Now, ducks.
I would say so.
Ducks have there's disadvantages and advantages. Ducks for eating are more greasy. There's traditionally less meat on them, but for chickens, the meat is usually more. They're easier to deal with in butchering them, unfortunately, where ducks are terrible parents. Chickens are a little better. Also, ducks don't... Chickens are very... It's the difference between tigers and lions. Lions are very communal. Chickens are very communal. They're clingy. They need each other. They have to... You can't have one chicken. That's like having one weasel or one ferret or one elephant or one dog. That's kind of torture. They need a buddy. They need another one of them. And chickens, you need at least 5 more. Holy shit. That's why anytime Laura wants to come and talk about chickens, please. Please.
I will ask her about that. Yeah, I heard something the other day that I thought was pretty cool about chickens. There's somebody describing what chickens are. It's like, no, they're just food that lives in your garden. Oh, and by the way, once a day, it just randomly drops out another piece of food. That's like the best kind of food in the world. So that's what chickens are.
Yeah. Thinking about it and then hearing about a race in the role-playing game Traveler, which we never really played as youths. I really want to play it as an adult. But there is this race where they're disgusted that we eat animals. They're a vegetarian race. And if you think about it, we do some pretty horrible things. Like the whole concept of fried chicken or tempura. That's extremely... We're going to take your unborn babies... Mix them with vanilla and flour, coat them in your dead bodies, and then fry them in this pan. It's delicious. Love it. Every day. Hail the Colonel. It's like, God, I never really thought about that, but that is fucking awful. If you were told like a alien race was doing that to us, you'd have world peace in 5 minutes.
Yeah, now I gotta play that game. Oh my god. So, all right, well, I'm gonna get going. It's good talking to you guys.
Oh man, thank you so much for joining us. You have a good one.
Take care, sir.
Absolutely.
You too. All right. All right. We'll catch you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Ron. Bye. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more it's like I'm not going to stop eating fried chicken by any sense of imagination. But this is terrible. It's the equivalent of that episode of Futurama with the poplars. Stop eating our young. I'm trying.
It's like when Homer had the pet lobster
Yeah,
called him
Mr.
Pinchy.
Pinchy.
And then he ate Pinchy, and he's crying, "Oh, Pinchy!" as he's eating Pinchy.
Butter. Yeah. I'm so glad he could. What happened to Guy? He said he was. Dude, you're 2.5 hours. Our whole one person watching is going to be upset.
Is that like one hand clapping?
One hand clapping. Oh, so I found out that I've got a fourth grill for a 46 to 48 Ford car.
Ah,
I found another one in all
nice.
of the junk. So, redo the 48 two-door sedan for Willow, do the Ford Coupe 48 hot rod for myself. I don't want to trade the 47 delivery sedan to Bill. I never did. And now the engine he was going to trade me for it's gone. And you're not giving me any body lessons. You're just telling me how it's to be done. And then, yeah, good luck with that. No, dude, that's not teaching. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm super apprehensive until I get the feel for it. And then hate to say it, I'm probably going to be better than you at this. That's another one of my mutant powers, not just the sweating and the strength and the storytelling, also the show me how to do that so I can do it better. Not that I want to do it better, that's awesome. I want to do that too. More like that. Well, I mean, I've been dropping hints to come over and do blacksmithing, but it's been so hot. You have not made any kind of like, oh, come on over. So I was just like, I'll wait till it cools down.
I'm not worried about it. The only things I have going on are Wednesday nights and Monday night.
What's night?
Wednesday night is
Wednesday.
Lodge.
Oh, that's right. So tomorrow.
And then, tomorrow's Tuesday.
Yes.
The Wednesday night, I'll have Lodge. Okay. That'll be stated. And then in September, we have Scottish Rite starting up. We went dark for the summer.
What night is that?
That is the third Thursday
of
each month is Scottish Rite.
Well, I mean, I was talking to Chris, and we were just talking about it just a minute ago. I can't be doing board games and video games and other RPGs and stuff like that if I'm working at nights. I got to get a day job. And I was talking to you and Chris and Guy and everybody about it because that's really the curse of our world, isn't it? That, I probably would have been. My father was too proud to take money from his father to go to college. He wanted to make his own way, and he really wanted to be a surgeon, but he couldn't afford that. That was super expensive, but he could afford to be an electrical engineer. That was within the price range. And then Vietnam happened. But I kind of carried that forward because in 88, 89, he was like, college. I don't know what I want to do. There's like 10 things that interest me, and I don't want to waste your money trying to figure that out. So if I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go to college on my dimes, not yours. So then I started working a lot. I was at the gas station all the time. I was doing juggling jobs. I was still doing the haunt. Or no, I wasn't doing the haunt that time, but I was doing Ren Fair. And then I met my first fiance, and then, well, I didn't do 92 at the Renaissance Festival because, well, but I did 93. I was back for that, and she was gone, and onward and upward. So, good luck to her. So, I didn't want to, I kept going back to college, and then I realized what my parents and teachers were trying to tell me the entire time, where if you just turn in the homework, it's really easy. Oh. So it's like for the first time I got all A's, a bunch of B's, instead of getting D's and F's and C's because I remember everything you said in class. Test me. But you have to do homework. I'm not going to do the homework. I don't need to. Test me. You aced the test because I remember everything you said in class. Oh, this is how ADD works, lady. It's interesting, so I'm remembering everything. It's boring. I don't learn anything. La, 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 la. It's the same as the anthropology teacher my freshman year of college asked me if I would be interested in co-teaching a class on witchcraft and pagan occult, and because I knew more than she did.
Yep.
Because I spent hours with crazy people and psychics and reading all kinds of books and talking to psychics and hanging out in the crystal shops and especially doing Ren Fair. All those people are the same. I was right in. Oh my God, what are you doing here? Oh, did you hear what so-and-so said about the... So it was, that was the whole thing with the improvisational comedy troupe. Lewis wanted Jason and I and Ryan and Beth, and he wanted all of us in the Oxymoron improvisational troupe because we were the next generation. We're the next generation of Rennies that are going to become stage acts and street acts and work in shops and be part of the Lord Mayor's Court and the more, because it's generational. Yeah, you think you're the cock of the walk now. Dude, in 10 years, nobody's going to know who the fuck you are. Here's the other thing. Here's the saddest thing about Ren Fair is there's no alumni. If you miss 1 year, you no longer exist. Other people steal your bits, and everybody goes on with their day. And then when you come back and they're like, oh, so-and-so says that. No, I said that from 91 to... it doesn't matter. And that was another thing that hurt a lot because I spent so much time being all over that site in the early 90s. And then, like, Quinn and I would go on break in, like, 2002, 5, 10, and we would walk through the fair and hawkers would try to sell to us. Dude, I've been working here since before your dad was a sperm. Fuck off. Thank you.
Oh.
Oh, good, my lord, blah, blah, blah. Or you play along with them. It's like, you don't have to, I work here. I got a pass and everything. You see me every week. Stop trying to sell me. Obviously, I work here. I come in at the end of the day every day. That's not, normal people don't do that. If they're paying to get in, they're there at 9:30, man. Trust me. 9:45 when the show starts, when the commercials start for fair. Anyway.
Back in the bad old days.
The Haunt has an alumni, and the Ren Fair for street characters doesn't. And that always bothered me because there were some absolutely hilarious and amazing actors that they only exist in photographs and other people's memories. And that's soul crushing.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same equivalent for the SCA, where there were warriors that were just absolutely amazing. And then they took a couple of years off and they don't exist anymore.
Usually the warriors would come back, or you'd have a fighter that would come back. You might step away for a while. But they usually come back and they would be remembered because you had active household. So the difference that occurred out there was you had households tribes, basically. And so you had each of these tribes, and the tribes were generations. So you had people that came, and they may not necessarily have been the children of the originators, but they were the younglings that were brought in somehow. They gravitated to the group. Their parents were a part of it, or they knew somebody who was a part of it, and they got swept in it. And then they became that next generation. And then their children, or those that they would bring in, would become. So you would have these generations in tribes, because each household was essentially a tribe. And so that was how that carried out. And the tribes, the households, became known throughout the circuit. So the wars have a circuit that go on around the country as well. And so you get known for doing something with this household at this particular war, and word will spread because people will go to other events and they'll talk about it. You come to that event, you have a bit of a history. So much like what what things would have truly been like in those times. So between the 9th century and the 13th, 14th century, your reputation would have preceded you potentially as you went from place to place. The circuit the way you have described it, the circuit for the Renaissance festivals, really the reputations were for the stage act. Even then, it was stage acts that were more regional, as opposed to, because you had mentioned that it became more difficult sometimes to go to California or to some other places if you were not carrying that kind of cachet, if you didn't have something that you could carry over.
Yeah. No, that was 1993, and that was a big learning lesson for me, because I've always been a wannabe class clown, but I'd like to apologize to Ron and all the other people in my past that I'm sorry. It's like that the phone call in the movie Billy Madison between Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi. Is this Danny McGrath? I'm really sorry. I thought that was funny at the time, but now that I look back, that was hurtful and mean, and I'm a real dick. I didn't mean to. My list is endless, just like Billy Madison's. So that being said, you hone your craft as time goes on, and comedy has many different levels, and when you're doing a cannonball into the pool of comedy, you don't really realize that there's different areas in the pool. I hope that's a good analogy. Whereas when you get older, you become more refined, and you realize this is funny, this is not. This is funny. No, don't do that. That's
and it grows as well. I mean, you learn because the world grows and adapts and changes. So comedy itself will change. Things that were funny 100 years ago were not as funny 80 years ago, and had fallen completely out of favor 60. But new things had picked up and carried over.
I tried quoting a movie from the 80s in 2021 in a group of strangers, and I got crickets. It's like, oh, sorry, you guys are all little. Okay.
Well, yeah, and the other thing, you've experienced it. We've all seen it, where the recycling of components and ideas. So films and songs and poems and stories recycle over time. And it takes usually at least one generational separation before it can recycle.
True.
And then it picks up and it carries forward. People pick up on it because you and I recognize it as, that was my parents.
Yeah.
And then that was mine. And then my children look at it, that was my dad. This was mine. My grandchildren look at it and go, this is new, Papa. Well, no, let me show you. It was a story or a tale or a song when I was your age. And it's been recycled by someone who now caters to your age group. And it's wonderful to see that, but you've added a nuance.
Yeah, I would have to. Yes, because it's the same thing as Shakespeare's histories and his dramas are timeless. His comedies have an expiration date.
Yeah. Well, even the Shakespeare stories, the Shakespeare plays, in and of themselves, the stories themselves, all of them are. Yeah. The difference that comes in, the comedies don't play as well because of
dated material.
Well, and not even that. I mean, the material itself carries over, but it's hard for most generations to take in the Old English when it's presented. Now, when somebody comes,
English,
when people come in, and when people are looking at Henry VIII, you're looking at any of those classic drama tales from Shakespeare. They're expecting that Old English, Middle English dialogue. That's what they want to hear. But they're not picking that up. The stories, the comedies don't play as well because people are not looking for highbrow in the comedy.
No.
But if you take the same storyline and massage it to the point where you're still making fun of an aristocratic class, but it's no longer an aristocrat that you're making fun of. It's a political person. It's a billionaire. It's a Hollywood, whatever the case may be. It's someone at a higher class level that we're going to make fun of. Yeah. We're going to take that same tale, but we're going to give it modern English, and we're going to set it in a modern. Now that same comedy plays and carries forward because it's used to be recreated so many times.
True.
So that's where the difference lies. People look at Shakespeare, they hear Shakespeare, and you get one of two usual responses. Somebody, I love Shakespeare because that's the bard, and I love the classic.
I don't understand it. It's all nonsense.
Right, yeah. I don't want to hear the old English. Yeah. So
arise, fair son, and kill the envious moon. Yeah.
So that's where, that's where it comes. It becomes more difficult to carry that over. But the stories are the same. The stories will always carry forward. But it's like we've spoken about before. Is he was retelling storylines, traditional tales that had been thousands of years in the making, coming up before him. Tales about the king, tales about the gods, tales about ghosts, and tales about the woodland fairies and the sprites and all of the other things that existed or that were created in the minds of beings and that needed to be told so that we could carry on a history. He picked those up through his education, but he gave them his twist because he made them modern at that point in time.
Well, yeah. Theater back then, unless you want to go hang out by a fire somewhere, that was entertainment because there wasn't really anything else going on. But
yeah,
we replicate the histories so well. Okay, we could sit here and make a huge list. Go ahead and add it in the comments, like and subscribe. But Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet are probably the most imitated through all of our literature, all of our entertainment, all of our media. So, Hamlet. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word Hamlet as far as remakes?
Oh, I'm terrible because I think of the when they did the little quick movie the movie trailer in where Arnold Schwarzenegger is Hamlet. You'll
That's
not to
not what I'm
be.
talking about. I think that's what you call it, Last Action Hero.
Yeah, that was in the last action.
No, no.
That's the one that
I
sticks in my head.
I was hoping you were gonna say Strange Brew.
No, that's the one that pops into my head because it was so far afield, and yet it begins with the serious. Okay, Hamlet,
Well,
we're going to do Hamlet, and here we are, and then it's
you're
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mel
yeah,
Gibson played Hamlet,
he did. He did a good job too. Hamlet
so
is the longest. Strange Brew. Bob and Doug McKenzie. It's
yeah,
fucking Hamlet. It's Pam instead of Hamlet. Claude Elsinore. It's The hockey player is called Rosie Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
yeah.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Hamlet's the longest Shakespeare play in its entirety. It's actually like 5.5 hours. It's really the biggest show. And every actor that's any actor covets to play Hamlet. But the problem is, from an audience standpoint, Hamlet is, oh my God, do something! Jesus Christ. But the Lion King is Hamlet. They're so, and it's, Othello has been redone, all so many different ones have just been remade. But that's a good thing. It's the same thing as Bug's Life is essentially the Seven Samurai. Village is being tormented by hostile invaders. One lone farmer goes off to find
The heroes.
war heroes that'll help fight him off the defenders. 7 of them answer the call. 6 of them are clowns. 1 of them is a real samurai. And the shit goes down. Because samurai are like Batman. Oh, you only have 10,000 attacking? That's it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on my way.
Let me go sharpen my blade. Let me go do my... Okay, we're ready to kill everyone. Because they're not afraid of numbers. Meanwhile, the other 6 shit their pants. You're real. Yeah. We were forged. We weren't, born. We were made. There's a difference.
Well, yeah, and again, all of those tales, those are the oldest tales. The tales of the heroes, the tales of the demigods, the tales of the gods, the tales of our clans, of our tribes. They all have existed since the very beginning. They have been told and retold, and then retooled each generation or each other generation, make relevant, keep them going, and to teach the moral and the values that are desirable by that particular society, by that group, by that tribe, or whatever the case may be. And so that's why those tales continue to carry forward. That's what everybody likes to talk about, the truth, big T. Well, the truth is that these are these ideas and ideals that have carried on for millennia, for as long as there have cognitive human beings. These same ideas that have continued on are what would be the truth, because they are the ones that are held dear, continue to be told and retold and retaught. We want you to be good. Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
That's
don't be
the
a
truth.
dick. Okay, since we're talking about this, it's also linked to evolution. So, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Humans are one of the few mammals that have very large whites to our eyes. Like dogs do it, and only a couple other mammals. So do you think that the whites of our eyes, and this goes, I'm tying this into storytelling because oral tradition is older than we realize, and it transfers in ways we don't realize. Do you think the uncanny valley and the excessively large whites of the eyes are in common for a reason.
Hence, they would be an adaptation that has lasted for a very long time. They have given a certain result. Now, the question would be, what is the benefit that has brought that about? Because all of the characteristics and traits that have continued via evolution have been those characteristics and traits that have been useful. If it was not a useful characteristic or trait, if it did not provide some kind of a benefit, it generally was
not
a
carried on.
It was a condition that would have failed or died off as a result of the overall genetic makeup. Because each evolutionary change is a genetic missequencing.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is there's a change in the genetic code. And it is, for all intents and purposes, it is a missequence versus what had happened before. You find a new characteristic, it's because the genes have sequenced different fashion from what they were. Yeah. Now, if it's a useful refashioning, then that means that will be carried on because you're going to procreate and that genetic change will continue. If it was not a useful change, you're not going to procreate, you're not going to reproduce. That will not continue past 1 or 2 generations. Potentially, it will fall away.
The whole purpose for the whites of the eyes is to, if we were sitting together in a group, I would use the whites of my eyes to show you where I'm looking, because there would be a threat or something in common that we needed to look at, if that makes sense.
That's a potential positive. That could be the case, as the capacity to widen your eyes, be able to see that, to be able to readily identify.
Mm-hmm. And it does show you where people are pointing, and I'm showing off Stella, sorry. She needs pets.
And again, you've got the case of the human animal, many mammals.
We are mammal animals.
Many higher mammals have the binocular, the stereoptic, as opposed to having the far set. Now, horses tend to have their eyes moving more towards the side, but they still have a strong stereoptic vision. So when you look at dogs, cats, many animals, even cattle are like horses. They're starting to have the eyes pulled to the side. They're be prey animals because now they're watching 2 directions at the same time. The buffalo, the large prey animal, deer, but
Kermit,
even those,
Fozzie, Cookie Monster, Grover, they have front-facing eyes. That means they're predators.
They're all predators.
Ralph the dog.
Waldorf and Statler, they're all predators.
Sam the
We know that.
Waldorf and Statler. We were falling asleep. What'd you wake me up for? The show hasn't started yet. That's a perfect reason to leave me asleep. I love them.
What was it when Key and Peele were on there? They did one where they had Waldorf and Statler were causing trouble, and
aren't they?
And I think they were doing a Saturday night live or something, but they were up there causing trouble, and Key and Peele were the security in.
Oh no!
In the theater. Oh yeah, they went up there and they kept telling them, "You two need to stop it. We're going to come up there," and they kept it up. And they go, and the next thing you know, they're up there, they're beating up on walls.
That's wrong. But it's funny because
you come back and they're bandaged up and they're beat up. You got anything else to say? I didn't think so. Okay,
that's the best. Everyone's like, "Ooh, Bert and Ernie are gay," and Frank Oz is like, "They're puppets. They don't exist beneath the waist. They don't. It's not. And they're based on Ernie is Jim Henson and Bert is Frank Oz because they had to share an apartment together for like a year and a half. And that's like an extrapolation of their living together because they were kind of the odd couple where Frank Oz is very, very, structured like Bert, and Jim Henson is more like Ernie. He's this force of chaos that
he's a scattered kid.
Yeah.
Turn him loose, get out the way.
He's a creative. Yeah. Sorry. I'm going to make art and all this mess in the process. Oh, you're the other kind of artist? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. Don't make me clean up after you. Here we go.
Yeah. I want to clean up after me. It's just that other stuff happened and I got distracted. Okay.
Exactly.
That's actually a pretty good pairing. They're a wonderful. Well, I mean, we all saw Frank Oz break down at Jim Henson's funeral, and I told my kids after it happened, it's like the greatest crime ever is that you don't have Jim Henson, and it's the same. He's dead. The last thing he was doing was Bear in the Big Blue House was very good, and Hannah watched it as a kid, and there's a lot of key, awesome stuff from Bear in the Big Blue House, but the worst part about the future is the past doesn't perpetuate unless there's old people going, meh, Captain Kangaroo, meh, Fred Rogers. And that's kind of our job now. I mean, our beards are gray.
It has to pass, like I said, it has to skip a generation. Because your kids, my kids, they knew Sesame. They knew the tail end of the electric. They knew some of those things were out there.
Yeah.
My grandchildren are going to be the ones that are going to see it. And they're going to start to say, oh, hey, what about?
Yeah.
Because when we were kids, Muppet Show was brand new.
Muppet Show new.
Kind of fell away.
Put on makeup. It's time to light the lights.
And then as we became older, our parents became nostalgic for us for that because then it picked up and we started to see the Muppet movies, the Muppet Caper, things like that started popping after the show had gone. The movies picked up.
Yeah.
And then that went away. And then we had the next re-release of the Muppets that came in and became popular with another new group that came in to learn about it.
Well,
and they're starting to get another return, which is getting interesting.
They are.
Right now, the popular thing right now that I'm seeing on YouTube that really surprised is Muppets in movies where Muppets didn't belong.
Gotcha.
Kermit as the Joker.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I'm going to make this pencil disappear.
You know how I got these stars? No.
Just things like that as they go.
Can't do Kermit.
You're looking at it, you're going, wow, this is really interesting. Even the other one that I've seen is AI created images of inappropriate new characters on Sesame. So
yes,
the count with Vlad, with Vladimir.
Or with Blade from Marvel. Yeah.
And you're just looking, and you're like, okay, these are great. But it's not.
What's her name from Misery that hobbles him?
Yeah.
Just a sledgehammer.
But it's not you and me that's doing it. It's the younger ones that are doing it, picking up on it, going, oh, hey, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is coming around.
I used to worry that
things will.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no! I was just to say those ideas will perpetuate. They will.
I used to worry that my kids were too twisted, and then I realized we're raised on The Exorcist and Halloween and Freddy Krueger and Motel Hell and Clowns from Outer Space and Critters and Gremlins and Omen and
We were raised on
horrific shit.
Yeah, I am the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I think I have.
And then, of course, we had the Evil Dead.
Yeah, that
So
was good.
each of those,
And
and as they came
ants and
along,
them and well, I mean
hell, the car.
the car. I lament for the kids of today because they don't have the excitement to go to Warehouse or Blockbuster or Video Update or Hollywood Video and what is this? And find a movie that to them looks really interesting, but your parents are like, "You want to rent that? Okay, I mean, I'll pay for it
But you know what's
if
happened
okay."
is they're going through the same thing by looking at the films that are popping when they go to Netflix, when
Yeah,
they go to look at what their mom and dad are seeing or
yeah,
capturing or pulling up on there. And then, my son's looking at things now like they're looking at Young Frankenstein because I thought it was the greatest goddamn thing ever. And it was, I grew up on that stuff.
yeah.
Now they start looking at it, they go, this is actually pretty funny. And I don't know the whole backstory, but I'm enjoying it. Some of my grandchildren are looking at it and seeing some of these things. And it's a similar process, but they don't have to go to the mall to learn about it.
Yeah.
So they're not getting that, but they are still having their click.
Mm.
But it's like we talked about before. Their clicks, they're able to have a much larger tribal space because they can do it through a virtual space. So they can get
Yeah.
on with all of their friends.
Where it would take you
My granddaughters get
forever.
on with 10 or 15 friends on the computer or on their phones, and they're talking about things in real time and going about different things. And, oh, did you hear about, have you seen this? My dad was watching. I heard my grandfather talking about this. Bam. And now that's where we would be sitting at Suncoast going,
Hold on, I
hey,
think I heard
I
about
saw
that.
that.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute, is that an anime? Yeah.
So
How are you?
it's a different path
It
to
really
get there, but
is.
they're still taking that same step,
Yeah.
but they're doing it in a much more virtual
Mm,
manner than we ever did. For
true.
us, virtual was, can I use the phone, Mom? Let me call. I'm going to see if Bill's home.
Hold on. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah. How are you doing? It's after 8. I can try to
Yeah.
hypnotize you. I found this cool lighter at the store. It's got a cool. That's not working. Okay.
I'll show you how I'm doing.
One. Okay. Where's the other one?
Oh, he's already in the other room.
Oh, he's already in the
She
other room.
she climbed up on her chair about 20 minutes ago and started snoring.
Gretchen. I've got Stella next to me. I had Steele behind. No, he's over there in the. He's in the threshold of the door. I've got one next to me, one in the threshold of the door. I don't. There's usually one in the window, but yeah, it's cat nap time. Wow, we talked about a lot, even though we were
Yep.
going to talk about owls mostly this.
Hey,
Owls
we
are
can
cool.
always set up a direct line, but I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
I think I enjoy these tales and these twists and turns and whatnot
yeah.
much more. If somebody's coming to this podcast and
We should.
they're
It,
looking
it should be
for,
regiment. Yeah.
well, if they want if they want a continuous diatribe on a very tight, narrow focus,
We can do that.
that's not geekdom. Geekdom doesn't
No,
do
not
that.
really.
I mean, if you get together to all of our viewer,
Most geeks have ADD and they're all over the fucking place like I am. So
exactly, any geek that's going to truly be watching this for geekdom is going to be having a good time because we're gonna touch on all these things. They're going to make all kinds of
yeah.
connections.
Or
And
they're
if we
like,
bring somebody on, we're going to ask them questions,
yeah,
but we want them to take that next turn. Go up to the end of the block, and maybe you're going to turn left. We thought you were going to turn right. Let's have some fun with this.
true.
That's the point.
Well, no. See, this is why. I mean, ultimately, like we would talked about off camera, I'd like to have 4 or 5 members each episode, but it doesn't really matter because you and Guy and Ron have your geekdom a lot more under control, whereas I'm all over the fucking map. But I've been like that my entire life. The two of them can verify for me. This isn't anything new. I've just learned how to like control it better because, well, I have to be an adult now.
Exactly. My license says I'm an
I
adult.
can't just hide in the treehouse all day and hope the world leaves. It's not going to happen, kids. We got to get up and do chores. The animals don't know it's a holiday, to quote my father.
I turned the corner on something I thought would never occur. I'm a grandfather. That was the most frightening thought I could ever have in my life. That I was going to, not only did I get the opportunity to mold young minds, but they gave me a second chance.
Well, it's amazing when you're Peter Pan, and you're kind of okay with that because you're in your early 20s, and your much younger girlfriend tells you, I'm pregnant. Well, I made myself a promise a long time ago that if this ever did happen, that I was going to fucking step up and do the thing.
Yep.
So I worked 2 jobs for a lot of time, dropped out of college, and I thought, well, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men often go wrong. I definitely don't want to sit here and be like, meh, because no, that's not the case at all. I have 2 awesome kids, everything. I'm very happy. I don't have like, there's, everyone has regrets. To say, I have no regrets, you're fucking lying. Because even the most fulfilled person would be like, well, I could have had more sex. I could have drank more beer. I could have smoked more weed, you know. So, here's another cat. So I got 3 cats near me right now. It's a 3-cat night. There you go. I don't regret and hate and the whole like, oh, enemies. What's it? You do? Why would you waste your time with that? Shouldn't you be putting your time to your hobbies and your plans and your building your empire? I mean, if someone gets along with you, fine, just renegotiate. You don't go to war with them unless it's absolute. Now, I go to war with a lot of people, but we're past all the negotiation points of it. Bye, Stella. Have a good night. But that's like Dwayne. Dwayne said it best. Bill's mostly a jovial and good together along guy, but if you cross him the wrong way, that's it. I'd like to think I'm more evolved than that, but yeah, that's highly accurate. I want to think I'm this benevolent person, but I'm also a giant asshole. So I'm dichotomous. As benevolent as I am, I'm also that horrible. I wouldn't pretend that I wasn't, because that would be lying.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, sleep well. I hope that you have wonderful dreams. Don't think about me coming darkness that resides at the very back of your mind, afraid to go.
Remember,
That isn't my face smiling back at you.
I rewatched our Christmas episodes of you and I being Santa's helpers, episodes 6 and 7. Don't worry, he knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. God, that's still creepy, even in August. Thank you very much for watching. You could have watched anybody, but you decided to watch us. There's millions of podcasts out there. Holy shit. We're trying to friend all of them. Hopefully that'll bring us more subscribers. I agree with Guy that the show should be structured and but I also kind of like these free format nights where, yeah, I had a couple topics, but I didn't really research them enough, so I didn't even bring them up. And then we didn't know. Lunk had something come up. Guy had something come up. Ron was fortunate enough to join us for a short amount of time. Chris, he didn't join us tonight. Maybe next week. You never know, but he's going to try to change his schedule too. And we'll get Ed on here. Hopefully Ron's wife, Laura, who's amazing, will come on and talk to us about her chickens, because Laura's been raising chickens for a long time. And they've been dating since the senior year. They're so of high school. They're so adorable. That was Ron and I graduated high school with Guy in 1990. Let that sink in. It's weird how when you're just out of high school, that's like, oh yeah, 90. Oh, good for you. And then 40 years later, you're like, yeah, 1990, I graduated high school. What? Shut up.
Look back at that stuff and I think, oh, 1990 is not that far. Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of the high school ring. They make a big deal about it. I got one. I paid for it. It's in a box somewhere. And my stuff. It was $300 back then. You don't really use it, you know. That and I'm gold, baby. I don't need to wear jewelry. Yeah, that I destroy jewelry. That's why I don't wear it. I've lost.
They couldn't make mine because my great big meat hooks.
Well, even okay. We bought rings out at Ren Fair from Daoud, and so many friends worked for Daoud. His real name is David, but his Ren Fair name is Daoud. And he had a little shop out there at the Ren Fair, and he was silver, gold, whatever you wanted. And every year he would laugh at me because I would come back, hi, I lost my wedding ring. Hi, I accidentally flattened my wedding ring. Don't ask. I lost that one. I broke this one. Can you put this back together? No. So then Paul's like, I kept breaking my wedding ring, and Kathy ordered me a titanium one, and they sent us two by accident. And luckily, we got the same sized ring finger. So he gave me his extra titanium ring, and after my skin adjusted to the cutting titanium, because at first, oh, you're going to have blood. But after that, callus.
Yep.
You can punch through steel, baby. I still have the ring, but... Oh, go ahead.
When I graduated high school, my ring finger was a size 13.
Holy crap.
And as I gained weight, I was powerlifting and everything, and I stopped powerlifting. Still gaining weight. At one point in time, I wore a size 15, 14, and 13 on my hand. And I had to go. I went to Vegas back when they first opened the Star Trek experience. Vegas. While we were there, they actually I have a Starfleet Academy ring. It's a size 15. Nice. And they had one. And I walked in there and I said, usually they don't have rings. You guys don't have rings my size. And the guy looked at me, gave that little smirk, and said, hang on a second. He looked back and came back out. He had a size 15.
Holy shit.
Put it on. I looked at it and I said, I'll take it. You want to know how much it is? It fits. If I find one that fits, I'll take it.
Picard to bridge. Engage. Make it so. That's awesome.
So after I had the surgery, my ring size down considerably. My first wedding ring, while we went to Vegas after I'd had my surgery and I lost all weight, my first wedding ring kept slipping off my finger. So my mother-in-law at the time bought me a new ring. And it's one of the little jewelry shops walking through. She bought me the ring. It's like, I don't want this disappearing. So I was good.
Make it tight.
So
that's awesome.
We got like 4 wedding rings. I even made one when I had my lathe and everything.
Yeah.
I had a shotgun barrel that I cut down because I was working on a shotgun to replace the barrel for somebody. And I cut it down, put it in the lathe, machined out a wedding band for myself out of that. That was one of the last.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. I also want to do, if you guys are up for it, we can do a steampunking night. Not that I want you to sand the guns. I've already made Ron do that a couple times before, and Ron was a trooper. He's like, yeah, whatever you want me to do. And he came over to Paul's house with me, like, well, because other friends were like, I want to paint. It's like, that's not really the help we need. They wanted to do the end, which if we're gonna, I would like to do like this, but we're all painting guns and see, let the creativity go. I've got tubs of them in varying states of completion. And this was, sorry, real quick, this was a huge argument between Paul and I where I made a lot of them and they were just flat black. Nobody's going to want to buy those. I don't know, dude. I got a feeling that people are going to want to buy them. No. No, fucking. Kelly, you're an idiot. You're not going to want to. Nobody's going to want to buy that. And we would argue and argue and argue. And sure enough, half of the flat black ones I brought to the 2013, they were sold. $20, and you've already done the hardest work. The first two phases of steampunking, sanding the shiny off of the plastic, which is the most toxic, and I feel bad about contributing to the microplastics problem, but hey, steampunk! And then the rest of it is, killing the ozone layer and flat black. I'm just not winning any friends on all of this. But people wanted to experiment in doing dry brush patina on their own. And Paul...
They get to do it themselves. They can add whatever they want. If you know any steampunkers, if there's any steampunkers out there still, let's bring a steampunker on to explain what is steampunk.
Yeah, I am a steampunk.
What it is, what it isn't, and then you could go through with that. Yeah. Here's a piece. What do we do?
Got 4 tubs out there in varying states of completion. We're going to do a mass producing, and I hope to sell them all. Hopefully we can finish the 54 Chevy and get it running with selling all the guns. That's the new scheme. That's the new diabolical plan to get that going. Yes.
There you go.
I'm sorry I've kept you up too late. We're at 3 hours and 16 minutes, almost 17.
No worries at all. All right, my brother.
All right. You have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I got to go out to the ranch tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Stay geeky. You could have watched anybody, but you decided to watch us. Thank you so much for watching the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. I am Bill. This is Rob. We will be back next Monday, if not sooner. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, sir. You have a good
Take care.
Oh, I'll do my very best. Take it easy.